Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HeroesHearth TFT Fight Night. I am your host for this evening, Blevins, and co-casting with me this week, not as always, but for the very first time, is DeathBlow. What's up, buddy? Welcome.
It's weird to think there's still a first-time thing we can do on microphones together, but thank you so much for the welcome. Really excited. I'm glad we got to run this back after the servers were down last week and we were unable to launch it. But either way, regardless, we got all the same players back. We're both back, Blevins. We're here to bring you guys Fight Night, and I'm very excited to cast my first TFT event.
Yes, and this is a great one. So last week we were going to be the very first tournament to run on patch 9.20, and we still might be actually, but now the players have actually got some time to take a look at this 9.20 patch, but we're going to be diving all into that because we're going to be playing 4 matches tonight. And yes, right here, we're bringing back a lot of returning players here. We're going to be playing 4 rounds, and the victor after 4 rounds will be crowned. We've got Faye here, who is the returning champ. Faye, actually, for those of you who are new to Fight Night, is the queen of Fight Night. She has won, I believe, 3 Fight Nights, and she has been in every single one because the top 3 are brought back to the next week. We've also got JinxedJK, another returning champion as well, and Rayditz FN, all in the top 3. They were in the last Fight Night and actually had a 3-way tie for first place as we came back. And we just have, we've got so many other players. We've also got DXN, JawKneeYou, Kladeous, ProfesssorTFT, and Master of LOL here. A lot of returning faces and a couple of new ones as well. So DeathBlow, this one, a lot of challenger level players, grandmaster and higher. So I mean, we're gonna be in for a treat no matter what.
Yeah, I'm here to learn, Blevins. I'm just trying to absorb as much as I can to bring to my ranked games as soon as the cast goes down, I'm sure. But yeah, it's going to be really fun and exciting to see what these players are able to do with the new meta. I'm curious, though. I know I have a favorite here who I think is in the pole position to be able to take down ult. But who do you like to be able to win?
I definitely have a favorite as well, and that's JinxedJK because I've been watching this. See what I did there? You thought it was a reversal. Got him. No, I mean, there's a lot of really great players, and we're actually going to be jumping in right now. Very soon we're going to be jumping into the matches here, but just wanted to quickly go over the points real quick. We're going to be playing 4 rounds. If you get first in the round, you get 4 points. Second is third, and it goes down from there. Third is 2 points. Fourth is 1 point. 5th through 8 is going to be getting that big fat 0. And let me tell you, as a player, I know exactly what that feels like. But that does mean you've got 4 rounds to accumulate points. And from there, we are going to be crowning a champion. These players are awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say every round's super important with the way the scoring system works. So it's going to be really crucial for these players to get off to a hot start. You never want to have one of those games end where you're not getting any points. It's not insurmountable, but it definitely puts you on the back foot. So it's going to be this first game is obviously very crucial to kind of set the tone for what each player is going to need to be able to do to take home the crown tonight.
Yep, and taking home that crown, as you saw there on the screen, is going to be getting some is actually going to be getting some prizes here. And you guys actually in the chat can contribute to the prizes. All the bits are going to be going into the pot here for the bounty and the staff, and the top 60% of the bits are going to the top 4. So get your bits in chat. We'll be reading out great copy pastas and memes, but we're jumping right here into the matches, and we see JawKneeYou here with the gloves, a pretty popular choice. It's usually BF sword is the top choice, followed maybe by the recurve bow, but gloves is also a really good pickup as well early on.
And so is Lissandra itself. And we see 2 items there off of the first creep wave here for JawKneeYou. He now has the ability to make Thief's Gloves immediately on this Lissandra, which is a very popular carry item. We will see what he decides to do. A little early to be crafting too many items here at the moment, but it's obviously great to see an option like that, an item that's very powerful from the first round of PvP onward.
Yeah, you definitely like seeing a lot of items quickly. It lets you really focus in on what you're doing. And we see Faye here. There's a lot of voids, and there's a spatula. Could we be going back a few patches and seeing void assassins?
I think it's confirmed. We're 2 metas ago. We're back in time here.
Yeah, I didn't tell you guys we have the ability to jump back in time and go into old metas. For the record, that's not actually true. Though I'm sure
Void's been strong though this patch. It's got an early game power to it that not a lot of other compositions can have.
It does, and it also has that end game finesse with the Kaisa as well. Probably, I think, arguably the most powerful unit in the game. And a lot of comps are going to be setting themselves up to utilize Kaisa in the very late game here. So take a look at Rayditz, and I mean, it's really kind of tough in these early rounds to really formulate what's going to be happening. We do see that he has the BF sword, which is definitely one of the most picked items in the game. It builds into a lot of really great stuff. The Giant Slayer, probably the most powerful item in the game right now, as well as the Guardian Angel. But DeathBlow, what are you looking to do in this situation? I mean, are you building that? He could build the Guardian Angel here. What are you doing with the the items in this layout that Rayditz has?
Well, I think you need to have a pretty good idea of what composition you want to run to really go crazy crafting items. At least I do personally. It's going to be interesting. We see he's going for it. Not going to wait.
Yeah.
The GA's out there. It's a great item to put onto Kennen specifically, taking advantage of the night buff and just making sure Kennen gets the ultimate, and the ultimate persists through the resurrection animation of Guardian Angel. So it's just a very powerful item to put on a character that has is it a channeling effect? I'm not sure on the exact terminology there for what Kennen's doing. But it is definitely a way to start fast and really protect your HP total. Starting from the first round of PvP, as we see them go in, it's not popular to level up, but it's not always a detriment to drop a couple items on something, especially such a universally good item like GA.
Yeah, Guardian Angel, definitely one of the ones you never really feel bad about building the Guardian Angel. Interesting here. I'd be interested to see if anyone is inting, which if you're not sure what inting is, that is purposely losing at the beginning. We do see that as a relatively common strategy if you don't really have a great start, you don't have great items, you're purposely losing at the beginning to try to get a better position in the carousel, which we're going to see in just a couple of rounds here. So right now, all the players we've seen so far are not looking to int, especially Rayditz is actually trying to be as powerful as possible. The opposite spectrum of inting is going for that win streak early. We might see some early levels, though not usually, but we might see an investment of gold early to get that win streak going so you can get it back.
Did Rayditz lose that round? Holy smokes.
That is... No, he didn't.
Okay.
He's Twitch Rayditz on...
gotcha.
On here, yeah, he's still at the top, which it would be insanely powerful. Someone's already got a Kaisa. What? But here, really just, we're not going to really see too much differentiation until after the carousel. We're usually seeing people commit. We're usually seeing players commit to comps a little bit more, commit to their direction of the game after the neutral rounds and the carousels, because that's when, the carousel and neutral rounds, they're kind of a free economy round. And we'll start to see as the game progresses. On the left, you'll see the little notches. They're showing you how much gold you have. Every increment of 10 gives you another little gold egg. We saw one on someone's screen over there. And each of those gold eggs is going to give you an additional gold at the end of the round. So we're going to see a lot of these players are going to be selling some units on their bench to try to get to these intervals of 10 to build up their economy and have more money later in the game. At least if they're good. Personally, I love to spend my gold. Get it out of here. I don't want it burning a hole in my pocket on my bench. I just want it all. I want it all in. But that's why they're playing and I'm here casting.
Well, don't feel too bad, because I love saving gold and playing for econ, and I'm lower ranked than you are at the moment. So it's a mixed bag for sure. It's a balancing act, and these players are much better at balancing than we are. That's for certain. But looking here, it looks like Faye is also competing for Elementalist. Has the Lysandra and the Kennen already, going to be looking for her favorite unit, Brand. Not her favorite unit by any stretch. My favorite unit, but not her favorite unit.
Yeah, and we saw their Professor, without hesitation, was the first to immediately pick that BF sword. And it looks like the large rod and the bow as well, recurve bow getting taken. Now we're nearing the end here. The slop of the pickings here for these players, but we saw Jinx just absolutely dominate Faye in that last round. I think he's got 3 shapeshifters already, and a couple of them are level 2. If we can take a look at Jinx perspective, that would be. I just want to see how strong he is. Yeah, look. Oh boy, that's a level 2 Nidalee. Jinx is definitely on the prowl right now.
Definitely, absolutely on the prowl in a big way. And honestly, I think Elise is underrated as an early game unit as well. They did a few buffs to the spiderlings that she creates, and now all of a sudden I'm noticing they're actually taking chunks of HP off of people when I play with her. So I think he's in a very, very strong position here going forward. A lot of room. There's even the odd brawler here, so there's the ability to maybe transition to a different core than Knights if he wants to, if Rose had to get away from him a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. Doesn't look like that's the plan, but definitely an option with a Rek'Sai on the bench here.
Yeah, we saw Jinx actually opt for the early level here to try to preserve the win streak. Not looking like it's going to get there, but he did choose that Warwick for the wild buff on his Nidalee versus putting in the Darius for night buff, which is very interesting to me. Obviously didn't pay off here, though. I'm not sure that my decision would have made it worth it either way, but really kind of getting punished here a little bit for that early level up. But he gets an early Gnar. Wow.
That's crazy early.
Yeah, that's crazy early, and he's already in Shapeshifter Wild. So, I mean, this is also looking like maybe a patch or 2 ago, but this early especially, not a bad place to be for Jinxed.
No, I'd be surprised if it was a couple patches ago. We'd be seeing all 6 of the shapeshifters, stockpiled and saved and used in one composition. Probably not something we'll see, but there's still plenty of room in this meta to be able to run 3 shifters as long as you can itemize correctly and really give yourself the damage that you need in order to get the kills and rack up the round wins. Then you can definitely make shapeshifters work. It looks like that's what Jinx
that Gnar ult. Yeah, that Gnar ult was just huge. You thought, this is looking kind of close. Gnar ults, and it's just all ogre for Kladeous there. Yeah, the early Gnar, I found it to be a bait where I'm not comfortable with how I'm building shifters in this meta right now, but I know Jinx has a lot more experience in that regard than I do. As we take a look here at Kladeous, who not quite as succinct of a build here, though. He is picking up a bunch of brawlers, maybe looking for a Jinx, or Brawler Jinx is obviously one of the strongest comps in the game right now.
Yeah, really, Knights Dragons is another one that really is one of the ones that competes with the brawler composition, but that synergy of Jinx and Blitzcrank together is a very, very strong. It gets the Jinx rolling very early, and once you get to rockets on Jinx, if it's even in the first half of combat, it's probably over. You're going to be able to take it out. So we'll see. It does look like that is the plan here, but obviously still got the kind of half-formed Blade Master comps out there, but good enough for Krugs. And really at this point, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, it's actually, it's understated, knowing exactly how strong you need to be to actually defeat Krugs. This is actually walking that line very well. Usually, generally speaking, having 2 level 2 units and one defensive synergy like Knights or Brawlers is going to be enough to get you close. But sometimes I've definitely screwed myself over by not
and they're really
properly.
I don't know that there was a synergy there for that round. Maybe
no.
Maybe
but level 2 Shen is very good, and level 2 Fiora is also effectively tanky because of her ult. So no real challenge there for Kladeous. As we take a look at Rayditz, who's currently rocking the 100. With that early Kennen still killing it, has a Kindred and a Mordekaiser, which is giving that early Phantom buff. A Katarina just on cruise control right now for Rayditz, honestly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see when Rayditz decides to commit a little bit of resources to try to find that third cannon that they need. There are other players in the lobby going for it. I say this because I would typically be committing resources to finding it, and I want to know just exactly how wrong I am in doing so. But we'll find out as we move along. Players are loath to roll down, but we do see Rayditz actually doing exactly that right now, spending some of these resources.
This is that situation we kind of alluded to earlier where, Rayditz, as you look down next, you look down next to his gold, he's got 6 wins right now, wants to keep that win streak, especially up for one more, because he is going to get that next tier of win streak gold bonus here. So he's actually willing to spend the gold rolling to continue that win streak here. A lot of times the conventional wisdom says get to level 8 as fast as you can in this meta, but if you're in the situation like this where you're at 100 health and you're rocking the wins, it's worth it to spend a little bit of money to get more later. You got to spend a little to get a little.
Yeah, win streaks are almost a detriment if you can't sustain them for a long period of time. You do want to be able to hold at that 7+ win streak for a little while. He'll be able to make up the gold he just spent in just a few rounds here. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy concept to me, and it took a long time for me to wrap my head around how gold management needs to work in this game. Mm-hmm. So it's always great to see these high-level players just manage it simply better than I could.
Yeah, and we see Rayditz here. Actually has the full bench. Seems like he knows where he's going. It looks like got the Lissandra for some elementalists, the Lulu for
Yordle.
Yeah, Yordles. We did say everyone in the chat has to put in 1,000 bits if someone gets 9 Yordles. That was just, I didn't make it up. That I definitely didn't make it up right now. That was just a rule. It's a rule on Twitch. Read the terms of service. You gotta, for the record, that's not actually a rule. I did actually make it up, but feel free to if it does happen.
We can see here the GA working with the cannon there for that ultimate. Gonna steal this round for Rayditz, help him get to 8 with his win streak. So really running hot right now, Rayditz is.
Yeah, Rayditz in a really good spot. And, if you're a good player, you can take that win streak, you can take that early lead and really push it into an advantage. I find myself going for an early win streak and then just plateauing as the rest of the players crush me in the later rounds. And it was like, I shouldn't have even gone for that win streak in the first place. But Rayditz knows how to toe that line and really spend their resources in a great way.
Faye was really torn there on that carousel pick, ended up getting a Sejuani with a spatula. That's a snap pick for me, so I'm dying to know what she's thinking about, where she wanted to go with that. But we do see, obviously, kind of the same tier level we talked about earlier of items is maintaining true throughout this round. It'll get a little different later on as players are hunting specific items and can't afford to pass up on specific things. But we look and see Faye here is not quite too elementalist there, right? So she's got it.
Has the elementalist, and now he is going for the force of nature, just going for it. That's it. The force of nature is probably the most not divisive but controversial item in terms of its power level that I've heard of, because on the one hand, yes, you're getting an extra unit in, which is insanely good at many points in the game. But on the other hand, you're essentially turning 2 of your items into something that gives you no stats and no extra ability, and it's preventing you from having 2 spatula items, which are generally very powerful. So an interesting decision, to say the least, to make the force of nature this early, and we're just gonna have to see if it pans out for Faye here. Not looking like it's gonna get this round for her, though.
Yeah, this is, to me, the difference between tournament play and ladder play, because you might want those spatula items when you're on ladder, but when you're in a tournament and you can never not get 4th place. We talked about how important these starts are and how always accumulating points are for your overall progress. True. The ability to just have more units in your comp just makes you that much more flexible. You can make compositions that aren't meta because they require you to have that force of nature and that extra unit to maybe get to 9 or 10 units on the board a little sooner. And to me, it's kind of like the main difference here between grinding ladder and trying to spike results in a tournament or something something along those lines. So we'll have to wait and see. Faye, obviously, towards the bottom of the standings at the moment, but that is not indicative of what the final score will be if you are new to TFT. Lose streaking is a strategy people employ all the time.
Yep.
And just the comebacks at the end are hugely exciting. And I'm hoping to see a couple of those today, because from a caster perspective, there's got to be not much more exciting.
I just want to point out here that the players are going to really need to get their sneeze guards up, because Asol is sneezing all over this board. It just crushed JawKneeYou there. Asol, one of the top tier units in the game right now. Yes. And it can be especially powerful if the lobby is not building Dragon's Claw and not building these anti-magic items, because it can just run rampant. And especially with dragons being as powerful as they are, if there's not other players running dragons and magic resistance, an Asol can easily take over a game.
Definitely can. And a unit that's just really easy to itemize in my experience. Like, you just kind of put items that give spell power on it, or give you mana just to get you to that first sneeze a little faster. And once one sneeze happens and a couple units die, the unit itself is just that much more stable and safe, and just not likely to be, wiped off the board here. So it's going to be curious to see. And that was a very early level 2 Asol as well. So probably going to put them in a good position going into the mid and late game here. And we're basically squarely in the mid game at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, DXN rocking that level 2 Asol with the Dragon, Yordle, Sorcerer. Got a couple of knights in here as well, or 3 knights actually. Does have that sorcerer bonus on Asol is just so strong, and we see that tier as well to, like you said, get that first sneeze. Really want to ruin the other player's salads with that salad bar sneeze card.
What do you think of the Frozen Heart here on Shyvana? I don't think I've ever seen that item on that particular unit before, but I kind of like it, I think, right?
I mean, I've seen it on the unit because I've made it, but it's an interesting one. It obviously in the last patch was very, very powerful. They did nerf it quite a bit, but as you can see here, it's still strong. Not quite strong enough, but
not Lysandra strong.
Not Lysandra with a Morellonomicon strong. It does still do a lot of the same things that it did in the last patch. It's just not broken at the beginning of the game like it was, because the assassins jumping over the enemy team and applying that attack speed slow for the first 3 or 4 seconds of the game, or however long it was, is now reduced to 1 second. So you're still getting the same benefits in the close combat like we saw there. The only real detriment is it's, the chain vest can be built into a guardian angel, sure, and there's a couple of things that you might want to build the tier into, but I guess if you have those items, it's not the worst item to build for sure.
This Gnar is so beefy with the Guardian buff on it. We talked about Jinx having the possibility to go with the Thieves' Gloves. He did decide to build it, put it on the Gnar. Now he gets a Runan's Hurricane and a BF Sword. Though dead already, we talked about Jinxed as well and what an early Jinx rocket activation can do, and we're seeing it right now.
Well, Jinx
gets the win in that round.
Jinx is killing Jinxed. It's like Inception side. I don't even know. That should be illegal.
It should be, and there should be a term for it, but we're not smart enough to coin it on the fly, I don't think. But we'll think about it. I'll see what I can come up with for that.
I would
hopefully for Jinx's sake, we don't see it too much though.
Right. I would like to also point out that Jinx has the what I like to call the Gnar curse, the early Gnar curse, which is you get that early Gnar and then just never see a second or third one ever. Or sometimes you'll get an early 2 Gnars and you'll never see the third one. So I'll be interested to see if Jinx ever gets that Gnar, that third Gnar to get the level 2, as he's sitting firmly in the middle of the pack here with 49 HP. And man, this lobby is actually pretty it's a little bit disparate here. Rayditz did see a couple of losses up at the top at 90, with Faye down at the bottom with 37. We're going to start being in the crunch time where we're going to be seeing the players level up to 8 and really get a power spike. I think after this carousel, we're going to see a couple of players really spike in power, which means the players at the bottom of the pack, Faye, Professor, and Johnny, potentially are 2 losses away from just being out of the game.
Yeah, good news for Professor, though. He just got a Pantheon out of the carousel, and in this meta, Pantheon is huge. It turns on Guardian, which was buffed. It turns on the Dragon buff as well, which is very, very important. And a great way to protect yourself against that level 2 ASOL that's out there in this lobby right now. Don't really need the Dragon's Claw if you can just automatically give it to 2 of your units, which is essentially what the Dragon's buff does. Not quite, but pretty close.
True, indeed. We also saw Faye pick up a Kai'Sa, and Rayditz actually has the ability to pick up a Kai'Sa, though it doesn't look like his items and build really fit the Kai'Sa, unfortunately for him. Seems to be the same for Faye here, as I believe she sold it off. So, I mean, Kai'Sa is one of the strongest units in the game, but is very item dependent. If you don't have those items, she's not the best for you and is not really going to be providing that value that you're really looking for.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the Kai'Sa players do item-wise for that particular character. One of the best ways to really get under Kai'Sa and take it down is to CC it when it can't move and it loses its mobility and its shield gaining. You get a nice little window of opportunity to take it down. So I'm curious if we see any of those new glove items get built that, you know, prevent spells or block CC effects, Quicksilver and the like. Wow, as we just see this Shyvana tear through Rayditz there as is Win Street.
Rageblade Shyvana, don't you wanna Rageblade Shyvana? Now we owe $50,000 to Fanta. Rip. That was my bad. I'll today's stream brought to you by
I'm
Fanta.
not gonna be singing on the broadcast, guys. I promise. But the Lion King song is the better one for Shyvana if you want to put it.
Yes. Yes.
Ha Shyvana.
Yeah. Ha Shyvana swash banana. Yes. Got Shyvana swash the Kai'Sa. That's the new song. Someone's got to write it. Call Elton John, even though he doesn't sing that song. I don't even think that's a song. I think that's just Rafiki talking. But let's not talk too much more about Lion King lore.
You know more of it than I do. I was done already.
Yeah, I wish I was done. Ooh, the sneeze guard. Instead of you can just dodge the sneeze. You don't need the sneeze guard if the ASOL is not lined up. And the Jinxed for JawKneeYou is online here.
Killing it.
Just absolutely killing it. And we're really seeing the lobby. It's starting to get closer and closer. The top and the bottom are getting closer. Rayditz falling down to 73. Johnny at the bottom on a 2-win streak here. Really leveled up. Has the 4 void. Man, I bet you Johnny would be killing for a Kai'Sa right now. And Kladeous also has that souped up Jinx. He's got the sneeze guard. He's got an Infinity Edge and a rapid fire cannon. So it's going to be this Jinx is going to be a tough nut to crack. She's going to be in the back line and she's going to be protected from a lot of that magic damage.
Yeah, positioning will be really important for that Jinx, though. We talked about getting to the rocket activation early. If you don't know, you do need to get 2 kills in order to kind of activate that. Not kills for the Jinx itself, but just assists. She has to have shot the unit that dies. And after the second one is dead, it's just rocket time. And I don't, not to steal too many terms from Overwatch, which I'll have to do as a crutch. But just rocket barrage is all over the place for Jinx after 2 kills.
Yeah, Justice not quite raining from above, but is raining from somewhere on the battlefield.
Horizontally from the ground, yes.
Yeah, the one notable thing here about Kladeous' Jinx is that she doesn't have that kind of free first kill with the Blitzcrank, which we see a lot in that Brawler's Jinx comp. So this is just a raw Jinx here.
Kladeous hunting for a tier 2 Kale. Be a big power spike for him.
Absolutely, yeah. Tier 2 Kale is, I mean, any 5-cost unit at tier 2 is going to be really strong here. Ooh, and the Jinx gets stunned, but is protected by the Kindred. The Kindred blocks the entire ASOL sneeze, but it was the 5 other spells that were also being cast.
Yeah, no lifesteal for that Jinx. Maybe a Hextech Gunblade away from being able to stand a chance in that fight, but not able to get it together this time around.
Yeah, that's really the delicate balance of these sort of hyper carries is like you generally want to have 2 offensive items and 1 defensive item. And we see that here, but it's, those two don't necessarily mash up the best way against everything. And Faye here is on potentially her her last legs here, but gets the Swain with,
Great
I believe,
items.
best in slot items here. And is going to be getting that redemption as well. Speaking of tough nuts to crack, that level 2 Swain is going to be.
There's another Kale. Might get a tier 2 tail. Tier 2 Kale as well.
That's a tongue.
I'll get it out. Yeah, I'll get it out.
Tier 2 Kale tongue twister. This is going to be interesting. Oh, but the 4 void bonus. Oh, luckily for Faye that Cassidy is not hitting the Swain, and that Swain is going to pop off and just pop those units. It's a 4v1 right now, but I am voting. I'm on Team Swain right now.
There it is. It's going to get there.
Yeah, not close.
The perfect itemization for Swain gets it done for Faye here. Just a great job hitting that and just managing and getting the clicks in needed to cycle through, spend all your gold, find and everything before the timer runs out.
Yeah.
It can't be understated how important that is. And Faye got it done here. If she can get the Kale going, the tier 2 Kale, she's going to really be in business.
Or, and now hear me out, the tier 3 Swain.
You know, I've hit what's the best unit you've ever hit tier 3 of?
Probably Draven.
Okay, because I got it done with a Cho'Gath and then immediately lost and was really upset about it. But yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. I almost feel like the 3-star of the unit that has no business being 3-starred is like a curse in its own way.
Well, I've only seen it on a 5-cost unit once ever, and it was on Dog's stream. Right. But the 5-cost units have like stupid stats. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it happened against me. Like my opponent had it once, but it was like my 2nd or 3rd game ever. So I can't be sure. I actually knew what I was looking at the time. But we're going to see a Draven battle here. The tier 2 beats out the tier 1, and Faye is now 1 game away from elimination in this first round.
Yeah, the Swain went down relatively early, but oh wow, Jinxed did fall. That is,
he was our win streaker, right?
No, that was Rayditz at the beginning.
Oh, Rayditz. Yeah, okay, still up top. Good for him.
Jinxed was he was kind of middle of the pack, and this meta has really, at least in my experience, has really kind of panned out as a lot of people are getting really big level spikes right around now, or even before this, where you're hitting level 8 and people are getting super powerful. They're getting tier 2 5-cost units, tier 2 4-cost units, and really solidifying their comps. And if you're not quite there, you're taking 15-20 damage a round in some of these losses, and that's where you can go from. I mean, Jinx may have even been at like 35 or something and just died in 2 rounds. It's absolutely insane how this meta has been playing out, but it is sort of the way of the meta right now.
Yeah, you can never take your eye off the late game at the moment. Yep. It's just too important, as we see Faye trying still to find that tier 2 Kale that I think would elevate her to the point where she would be able to make a run into the top 4. Might be a little rough without it. It's going to depend if she can keep that Draven just clean and left alone.
The Swain gets hex tacked. Really going to need that.
Already dead. Oh no.
Yeah, that's absolutely brutal. Luckily for her, the tier 2 Draven is still. Oh man, never mind.
I was hoping Faye would be able to scratch and claw her way into the top 4 there, but not quite able to do it.
I get it. I see what you did
there. I'm not gonna stop. Just get used to it, guys.
Well, man, yeah, that's just the way it is. I think there's probably a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance to hit that Swain. I mean, that's unfortunately the way that her comp was. She did have the tier 2 Draven as well, but not with the best items for him. Did have very good items for Swain, but when they get hex tacked, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's what that Kale would have been so good at. It would have been able to throw a shield out that would have been able to protect it, get the items back, and then just activating GA on that Swain would have been, I think, enough to get her that round win at a bare minimum. But no use talking about it anymore since it's in the past. Queen Faye is down, and we are left with 6 players left in our lobby here. Yeah,
and we see, again, a pretty close spread here. Rayditz being at 46 in first, and Master of Law being in last with 4 health. But really, a lot of these players are 1, maybe 2 losses away.
He's down. This is a close one. Holy smokes. Master of Law may just lose here if he can't get the W. Just able to do it. Got my colors mixed up for just a second there. Able to hang on.
But we do see JawKneeYou going down in 6th place here.
Another
as we get to the
crucial
dragon.
Yeah, another crucial round here, Dragon. You know, you get that one finished item, and whether or not it's relevant or how good it is in your composition can make a huge, huge difference between third or first place or something along those lines. So, going to be really interesting to see. Maybe we can bounce around, see what the other players have at their disposal. But we've got a Thornmail here for Master of Law. Rayditz going to be able to potentially use that night buff.
Yeah, he
There's
does.
at least one night in the comp, so
yeah.
that's
He's gonna
big
get
as
night
well.
buff, which is exactly is big. Ooh, a Warmogs.
Does
Warmog.
Does Gnar wear a Warmogs pretty well? Is that a thing?
Pretty good, especially when he's got Phantom Dancer and 3 Yordle. That Gnar is going to be tough to kill. It's going to be real tough to kill.
Maybe regretting putting that naked Giant's belt onto the Shyvana now that the Warmogs is there could have helped turn on the carry to full effect. But moving into stage 6 here, things are going to start to happen really fast. It's in my experience rare to still have 5 players around in stage 6. Just a testament to how closely matched all these players are and how good these compositions and how well thought out they are. Really using that extra week Riot wanted to give them that we were reluctant to their advantage. But I will say, Kladeous caught in the middle of repositioning. I don't know if this is what he wanted, but I hope so. It's not a position I would have used. Obviously, a lot smarter on his end. So we'll see. Lucian down.
Yeah, and this is the bubble round too, so we're gonna probably be seeing some bottom left spam. But
Jinx,
the rockets are raining.
Jinx.
Oh, Master of Law does drop down in our 5th place position. The bubble round, Mr. Bubble himself, Master of Law out in 5th place, and we do have our top 4 secured here. But Kladeous on a 5-game win streak and could not have picked a better time to do it with a tier 2 Pantheon.
That's
and
big.
the Mort is not as big, but it's still very strong. I don't know if he can actually even get stronger right now. I think he's got tier 2 everything. He's rolled down. I think most of the players are rolled down here.
Really needs with that last Vi though.
Yeah, with the exception of Rayditz,
really powerful.
Everybody is within one loss away potentially from being out here. Rayditz, I don't know if you can lose 40 health on one in one game here, but
I've not seen it, but I'll do my best for you after tonight.
I may have, honestly. The only reason I haven't is because I haven't had that much to give. As we see here, the spellcaster comp.
The range on that Aurelion Soul keeps him so safe, just sneezing all over everybody. Might not be enough though. We do see the power of that Draven with the lifesteal. Doesn't care about long range sneezes, that's for sure.
Yeah, we see that Draven. Unless you're bursting it down entirely in one shot, it doesn't matter because he's going to gain it all back with the Bloodthirster, and he does have the Guardian Angel as well, which is gonna, even if he does somehow get bursted down, coming right back and de-aggroing in the process. So really good items for the Draven here. It's going to be tough, man. This is a super close match right now.
Yeah, Professor really looking for that tier 2 Yasuo. Maybe get an item in the next carousel, buff it up. That's really a strong power level power up that he can get at this point in the game. Obviously, needs the Swain as well to tier 2 if he can get it, but harder to do. Only the one.
Is that a tier 3 Katarina with spell crit and is a sorcerer? I'm just wondering if that's what that is, because
you're a little more adept at viewing the board than I am, so I'll have to take it. We'll have to.
But guess what? It doesn't matter. Draven does not care. No. Draven cares not of your tier 3s and your Katarinas. Draven smash.
Yeah, we keep seeing Professor left over with this Swain and this Draven, no matter what happens in every single round. And that is because they are just so perfectly itemized, just exactly what he's looking for here. Got him in a very strong position. Ended the win streak on Kladeous as well. So Kladeous now just 8 HP away. DXN just at 12. Rayditz at 20, tied with Professor here. So it's the final leg. There's only 3-4 rounds maybe maximum that can occur. At this point. So 4 I'd be very surprised to see, but
and DXN notably got a Guardian, or not a Guardian Angel, a Force of Nature, and has it just got a free extra unit at this point in the game. Can really be super powerful.
Can we look at his board, see what he did with it? Or is that where we are right now? DXN, did you say?
Yeah, that was DXN.
Okay.
Put the Lulu in, and I mean, really just an
Yordles.
extra level too. Yeah, I mean, you can see Wild Knight, Shapeshifter, Sorcerer, Yordle, Phantom Dragon. I mean, that's a pretty standard comp, right? The Wild Knight, Sorcerer, Shapeshifter, Yordle.
I build it all the time. I build it in my sleep.
Yeah, it's
Never
easy.
built it in my life.
It's a super easy comp to get. Not quite. This is what they call a slobber knocker. That tier 3 cat actually being able to get the alt off, and that is enough to take out DXN as our first top 4 placer here.
Yeah, I think he had a Karthus that was in mid cast when he died, and it may have made all the difference in the world. So timing is everything in these rounds.
Yeah, the Karthus is
Yasuo for Professor was hit. So what are we looking for now? Can find some Katarinas maybe, or a Swain. Probably not going to do too much going for the tier 3 Kale.
But really, I'm not able to take this gold home, so I'm just going to spend it up. I'm going to press that button one last time because this could be the last round. Ooh, the frontline cat. Interesting. This is a pro level move with the frontline cat. Still jumps though.
Yeah.
If that Katarina can get an ult off, look where that Katarina is to get the ult off, possibly.
In a beautiful spot with the ability for each one of those ticks to critical strike. Got the GA to make it happen, but taken down immediately after resurrecting. Absolutely brutal. Kladeous going to get the win, but Rayditz is down, but not out. Holding on tight in 3rd place. So close.
We are in the single-digit club here, as first place is Kladeous with 8 health, followed by Professor at 7, and Rayditz here at 5 health.
Is it multiple players getting sword breakers, or was somebody scouting? It's so hard to tell. These players scout so much more than me.
I see a Morello for Professor, which is big, though he does already have 2.
Yeah, so where's he going to put it? That's interesting, yeah. Maybe the least valuable Morellonomicon I've ever seen.
I don't know. But this Swordbreaker, though generally not necessarily an item that you want to build super early, but if you just get one, it can be a game changer.
Generally really strong on gunslingers, but both gunslingers have 3 items already. So another situation where the item just doesn't quite fit what's available. Let's see where it goes. If I had to guess, I'd say Kale. You just have to think it's going to be around for a long time to get a lot of value off it. And there we go. We do see it put on Kale.
Got to be around for a long time, and also has a really high base attack speed. So it's just good to just, I mean, if you can get even just like 1 proc off on a Draven, that can be enough to turn the tide of the fight, especially since Draven is relying so heavily on that lifesteal from the Bloodthirster. These matches are going to be absolutely insane here. There's so many units on the board. The Phantom hits the Poppy, maybe not the best, but also not the worst. Oh my god, the Swain also not able to die. Didn't even trigger the GA, I don't think. Maybe he did.
Katarina, no. That Katarina just is struggling to find value. And unfortunately for Professor TFT, it never does find it, and they drop here. Into 3rd place. 2 players left. Kladeous versus, what was that, Rayditz there. So one more round. Neither of these players can sustain a loss from any amount of heroes left here. So this is the last round.
I think I'm pretty sure it will just be a lot. This is the finals here. We got 15 seconds to pick. Who's your pick here, Death?
Oh man, it's really hard for me to go with Rayditz, seeing how little value he's gotten out of the Katarina. There's a lot of items invested there, so I'll go with Rayditz. But if that Katarina is able to get an ultimate, it is absolutely anybody's game. We will see. Got the Mordekaiser there for Kladeous to defend against that jump from the Katarina.
Yeah, the cat also
gets the ultimate.
The cat only got 1 kill. Because of the Kindred ult, and also was Hextacked as well. This Jinx is so close.
There it is, another one. Oh, man. Woo. Kladeous is down, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yep. So. That is Kladeous down in 2nd place, which means Rayditz is our game 1 champ here, giving himself 4 points to use into the following rounds. And again, these players, we're going to be playing 4 rounds. We're playing 3 more, and we're going to be trying to accrue points across those and try to be at the top, at least in the top 3, to be invited back to the next fight night, and in the top 4 to get some of that sweet bit money, guys. So make sure, if you are watching the chat and you're having fun, you want to support the community and the players, throw some bits in there, throw your favorite copy pasta. I will make sure that I read it on the stream. Believe me, I've got an eagle eye on the chat as we look here. Again, we saw Rayditz in first, accruing up 4 points here. Kladeous in second, Professor in third, and DXN in fourth. Everyone else in the bottom does not matter. We got 0 points here. That's the old Blevins donut, unfortunately, and it does not taste very good.
Well, I was going to say, I would never let you forget your performance on Fight Night when you were there, but you seem to be doing just as good a job as I could possibly be doing of bringing it up. So I'll leave it to you.
When I see a tier 2 Fiora, that's the nightmares.
But you were talking about bit donations. Anybody that is new to TFT Fight Night here, just so you are aware, any bit donations, 60% of those donations do go to the top 4 finishers here. So it is directly supporting the prize pool. First place gets 25%, second gets 15, third gets 10, and fourth also gets 10. 20% of that also does go to the bounty, so that is still going to support the players and their prize pools. Blevins, maybe you can explain the bounty system a little better than I could, but the last
if you win twice,
if
you win 2 fight nights in a row, you get a chance to claim the bounty, and we have seen some players with the ability to do that. I believe Faye might actually be the only one that has the chance to do it, or has had the chance to do it, as she has been a ringer here in the fight night circuit, of course. And though I mean, Death, could you be the bad luck charm for Faye? Could you be the queen killer indirectly, even though you're not in this game at all? I'm just saying, you show up for 1 week and she gets 7th place. I certainly haven't seen it.
I'll take it. She doesn't like Brand. She was smack talking Phantoms, I think, on Twitter. I saw, which might be my favorite synergy. That might be my favorite synergy.
You really are
my
just
favorite
toxic.
synergy. She hates my favorite unit. I mean, if I've got a cursor, I've got a cursor. We got to get her on the Brand hype train here. We got to convert her, and then I'll release her from the curse.
You got to get her buying into the brand. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I am a brand ambassador, and I'm trying to get faded.
There we go. And as if we couldn't talk about anything dumber, we are in the match here. But this is kind of my favorite part of TFT, is these first rounds, because you know what? There's not much in terms of gameplay to talk about, besides the fact that Rayditz already has a Giant Slayer.
Slingers, which wear the Giant Slayer pretty well. I'm just saying, not that they're good by any stretch, but they are tempting.
I always want to hyper roll Slingers, even though it is really not that great.
No, and exactly why you ended your fight night with 0 points.
True, but I do like the 2 Slingers synergy when I also have 6 brawlers and one of those Slingers is Jinx. That's what I like. And what I also like is a huge host. From I'm going to say it wrong. Tatsishu. Yes. With a party of 63. Welcome, everybody. Welcome here to TFT Fight Night. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy the show as much as we have here on in the caster booth, or in the we're not really. No, we are in a booth. We're in a booth in a cold ice booth here in Buffalo, New York, as we're both bundled up. And yeah, it's a really great time here in the beginning of the match, because we just get to talk about whatever we want, and no one's going to miss anything. It's great.
Yeah, not the most action-packed here when you're not fighting against other players and you only got 2 or 3 characters, but honestly, very crucial rounds. The decisions they make shape so much. The the econ of these players through the first couple of rounds really makes a big difference in power level by the time you get to mid game. It's crazy what the difference 1 gold and it can make in an earlier round. You just save it, it becomes exponential, it gets you to the next tier, you know, and you're talking about the difference of 1 gold costing you, you know, between 20 and 50 depending on how long you're alive in the game.
Yep.
By the end of things. So really important strategy going on here, but not a lot of action.
Yeah, but this is interesting. DXN, I mean, this is I was saying this is giving me flashbacks to Void Assassins, but it looks like DXN might actually be inting here, which we talked about earlier, is purposely trying to lose to get a better position in the carousel. And in DXN's position, I actually really like this. If he is trying to int here, I really do like it, because what I like to do, my strategy behind inting is when I really don't have solid items, which I would argue the needlessly large rod, Giant's Belt spatula opener is not the strongest. You really want to make sure that you're getting a good unit, or a good item rather, from the carousel, though. This is
level 2 Kha'Zix doesn't look like inting to me, I've got to say.
Or maybe small. I mean, this is, he did get the first loss, so maybe he's not trying to super lose. Okay, if he's putting items on, then I don't think he's trying to lose at all. But no. I mean, this comp's probably not winning here. Maybe he just wants it to be close. I don't know, but I do like, if it is an int, I do like the int here, and it's looking like, whether intentional or not, this is turning into an int.
Well, Master leveled up and got to level 4 a little early, so spent some resources to do that. It's very important to win when you do commit those resources to start that win streak. So good on Master being able to do it. We can see just 2 players didn't immediately level up to 4 at the end of that round. So those are the 2 that decided to spend the gold. What are your thoughts on leveling up to level 4 a little early for the first couple PvP rounds?
Yeah, again, it really depends to me on whether or not I have a good base of items. If I already have a Giant Slayer built, or if I have the BF sword for it and maybe some other good items, I'm like, you know what? I can make whatever I get from the carousel work. So I might as well try to be at the top. If you're not, like, really where I end up getting punished is where I'm either trying to int and I'm not getting first pick, or if I'm trying to win streak and I'm not actually win streaking. You don't want to go win loss. That's really kind of the worst thing that can happen. So you want to try to min max everything. And if I have items and I don't care what item I get from the carousel, I like the early win streak. It's just I'm not great at transitioning into that super late game as well as other players are.
Can we talk about how big of a bully Faye is right now? Didn't even lose half HP on any one unit in that round there. Takes down ProfessorTFT. He'll take it. He gets the first pick in the carousel here. Faye's going to have to pick somewhere in the middle. Let's see what Professor's able to grab. He gets the BF sword.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's actually 2 BF swords here. And DXN
not anymore.
Almost hesitated there. Didn't seem like he was sure if he wanted it, but I feel like you just got to take it. It's always going to be good. You can use a Guardian Angel in any comp.
Any meta, any comp.
Any comp.
Unit. It's just always so good.
It is. It's never a bad item. It's essentially, in my mind, it's like a better force of nature in a lot of ways, because it's like it kind of gives you an extra unit. But it also gives you some stats too. So
really just doesn't help with the synergy. That's really the only other downside, the only reason it's worse.
Right. And Jinx now one of our only 2 players with 100 health here, and
I love this build.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is one of my favorite opening builds, is having a couple of Rangers. The Knight synergy is pretty much a staple at this point, but also having the 2 demons. I found that having demons early has been really, really strong.
Demons are strong, and I've personally had a ton of success the couple of times I've tried to build Rangers in this meta. The lack of assassins running around by 4 players in your lobby really just opened up that synergy to being very, very powerful again. And you get a Ginsu's on any one of these Rangers, and all of a sudden you're just in business. It's a Rage Blade after all, so it's not going to be nice to anybody.
Yeah, it's certainly not a happy blade, especially when you pair it with a Giant Slayer, because the Rangers are all about attack speed, attacking more, and even when you're obviously you want to be focusing their backline first, but when your carry is chunking their front line for 5% true damage of their maximum health every single attack, that's not a bad spot to be.
Not at all. All right. Looking here to round out stage 2, trying to see if anybody is doing anything kind of offbeat at the moment. I always love those early compositions where you're just compiling random tier 2s together, maybe stumbling into a couple synergies. They're always fun to see, and honestly give me ideas for ways I can lose LP myself in my own
because
game.
I don't transition away from
right,
like,
because I'm like, oh, look how powerful that is. I'll bet you that'll work in stage 7. Well, guess what? It doesn't.
Hey, I top 8 every tournament. Every TFT tournament I've played in. So, I mean, wait, what? I'm getting word here. That's not good. Oh, yikes. Oh, there's your friend. There's your friend. There's your fate. Oh, the producer is saying that I'm the worst player that's ever been on Fight Night.
In the history of Fight Night, yeah.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
I can confirm. I've missed a couple, but I'll just assume that nobody did anything that bad.
I'm kidding. Jules is amazing. But your boy here, Brand, sitting on the bench here for Professor. I don't even know what.
I've never rooted for Krug so hard in my life.
He's got Brand plans here. Just chilling with it. Eating his Gala apple.
Yeah, I mean, it does really need the synergy, right? It's such a hit or miss ability when it uses it. So like you really need it to be part of the Elementalist strategy, but he's trying to keep it open. Or does he have a couple demons? I don't see the demons.
No, it would be a raw Brand for sure. You definitely don't want that. I have used Brand a good number of times, and there you go.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. I've used him a good number of times where I'm just using him for demon synergy, which I think is pretty decent, especially if you're in more of a sorcerer comp. He's very good, obviously, with the sorcerer bonus, as it will increase his spell damage, his ability power as well. So
I just don't know what I did to Professor to make him sell that unit on me. I'm trying to be a brand ambassador, and they're just these players aren't helping me. They're not making that case for me.
It was so close to he was so close to having even a single reason to have the brand, and he just didn't get there.
No. It was almost certainly purchased just to make the other 4 drops that he actually is looking for more likely to show up in the pack. So
yeah, and the interesting thing about JawKneeYou here is that it seems like he's in the he's going with a similar build as Jinxed, but he's in the the Akali did get completely countered, but that
just
only
shut down
stemmed the bleeding.
Second time we've seen that today, by the way.
Ooh, I was saying JawKneeYou is in the I'm like Jinxed but worse boat, but Jinxed actually just got his first loss here. So the Rangers have gone down, and now everyone has drawn blood. Jinxed looks like he's still on that Demon Ranger Knight so far. Doesn't have the Kindred or an Ash, really. So kind of an interesting... it'll be interesting to see where Jinx takes this. Is he going to go full Rangers? Looks like he picked up a Fiora for Nobles. Could we see some Nobles? I've seen Noble Kaisa builds be pretty strong in some of these super late games.
Yeah, Noble's definitely coming back a little bit into the meta this time around. But man, looking at Rayditz, he is just in the driver's seat again. First place in the first round of play, and now 98 HP. That tells me only lost in one of the first 2 rounds of PvP. So a 3-win streak really going to start to level up here probably. I think he already did commit some resources to try to help keep that win streak going and extend it, and it's going to pay off. Did he have the early Gnar last time too?
He might have, but this board is
gnarly.
It is gnarly, but like this might have been one of our random. If these exact 6 units show up, we'll scream really loud like Pee Wee's Playhouse. Because have you ever gone for the Zed, Gnar, Tristana, Poppy, Katarina, Darius build? Because let me tell you, it is the new meta.
No, the Zed really not pulling its weight too much in this composition at the moment, but
Hey,
it does provide
ninja.
the soul ninja buff, right? So it just adds that fourth synergy onto the board.
Yeah. I mean, a level 2 ninja is not a bad place to be,
No.
especially when it's a Zed. He's very strong on his own.
Yes. High damage from Zed.
Man, I don't know if we've seen a Katarina throw more than 2 shurikens out at all. And man, we got a huge bit donation here from even though I'm having the name said to me right now, Tatsichu. 500 bits says thank you all for the great fun. We do heavily appreciate the bits, but I mean, I want a little more memey of an answer here, of a message here. But thank you so much for the bits. Again, guys, all of the bits are going to be going in to support the community and is going to be supporting the players' prizes directly. So if you got some of those spare bits, you've been watching some ads, you get a couple of bits here and there, toss them in. It is all going towards helping the community and helping Fight Night as a whole.
Absolutely. As we take a look at another carousel here, Rayditz with the last pick, going to be picking up a clamshell, or I'm sorry, I should call it a Negatron cloak. I got to remember when I'm casting to use the real names of these items. I have so many stupid names with my friends for everything.
Level 2 Gnar, by the way.
It is a level 2 Gnar.
And
gnarly confirmed.
Yeah.
Curious to see where he goes from here, right? Because I mentioned Zed's not very useful at the moment, but at the same time, there's 2 assassins on the board. So we're 1 away from unlocking that synergy. There's a lot of different directions Rayditz can go and finding the early success as well.
I'm guessing he is in the Draven waiting room right now. We can see those items. He's got the Rage Blade. He's got the Salad Bar Sneeze Guard of Dragon Claw, and he's got the BF Sword already committed to Tristana. The Tristana is going to be gloriously sacrificed the second a Draven comes into play. But the Gnar holding its own here as an early level 2, and oh, actually, I may have spoken too soon. Caster Curse, but the Tristana wins the Tristana war here. It's the Rage Blade Tristana beats the non-Rage Blade. She was just a little angrier there. And I think DeathBlow.
Oh, did I actually mute myself? Must have bumped.
Yeah, I thought it was me for a second. So sorry there. I'm like, oh, no, this is all me. This is the end now.
Usually I do pre-recorded podcasts, not live casting. So it's sorry for the interruption there. But yeah, going to be really interesting to see. We're looking at DXN right now. Got the Aatroxes, holding on to the demon buff. Obviously,
I'm going to stop you right there. It's Aatrox, especially when there's 2 out. I mean, come on, it writes itself, man.
It's just awkward to say, and I don't wanna. So we do see Professor's Gnar flip, and that is going to be more than enough. Oh, barely though.
Not more than enough. That was close.
Just enough. Just
enough. If you ain't dead, it's not close. Yeah, that Varus. If he didn't take 500 years to pull back his arrow and shoot it, maybe it was close. We see actually Master of Law getting the early Draven, and I'm sure that Rayditz would pay a pretty penny to steal that from Master of Law. Unfortunately for him, that's not how this works. But
look at this try-hard positioning, protecting the Draven from the Merc Wolves, which are going to jump to that bottom left corner of the screen here. I always roll. I don't reposition for creeps. Do you?
You should definitely reposition for wolves because it's probably, and for Krugs too. Krugs
I do
actually.
For Krugs.
Wolves is less likely, but if you position it really badly, you can get crushed. But there's actually, I found a way super early on to just always make the wolves like Pepega over in the corner, and it's literally just make a triangle right in front of them, and they jump all over into the corner, and they don't, and 3 of them don't attack. So I'm surprised more people don't see that. And I'm also surprised that more people don't get an early 2 Kai'Sas. At this point, if I'm Master, I'm just I'm pressing the luck.
Yeah,
I'm going for it all. And speaking of going for it all, TSKeeShu actually came in and shuts me right up with another 500 bits. Woo! And one of my favorite copy pastas. That is Ocean Man. Thank you so much. Let's get those copy pastas coming. Again, guys, they do support Fight Night and the community so much. And Ocean Man, a near and dear classic to my heart. So thank you.
You have to sing it? Aren't you obligated to sing
Ocean Man. I'll give you that. Take me by the hand. That's it. That's all you get. We got to get back to casting. And also, I can see the viewer count dropping precipitously.
I unfollowed you on Twitter as a result of that.
I also deleted my account. So my SoundCloud has also been deleted. I had to make one just so that I could delete it.
So Master of LoL here very clearly going for the 6 Knight 4 Imperial synergy that's very popular and strong in this meta. Going to need to find that Swain though. So yeah, we're going to see him sell down, get to 50 gold. All right. Ooh, so made the 6 Knight buff already with the Katarina, holding on to, I forget the name of the the item that makes knights. Anyway, it's Knight's Vow. Knight's Vow.
Oh, it's Knight's Vow. Oh
yeah. So we see that build to put on the Katarina, but in order for this comp to really pick up steam and hit full power, you have to find the Swain to activate the 4th Imperial. So that will be Master of LoL's goal. Not something that's guaranteed by any stretch, but these players handle their resources so much better than your average player that I think we can count on him finding at least a level 1.
I mean, just get the Imperial buff on Draven every time, Forehead. It's easy. You don't need the 4 Imperial buff if you just get it on Draven every time.
Just be a luck sack. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Faye being offered Brand. Faye, don't let me down.
I have a feeling, considering her disdain for Brand and also the fact that it adds exactly nothing, that she's going to be passing on the Brand here.
I'm being attacked.
I think
the show picked up here. An interesting pickup. No brawlers, no voids, just a really powerful unit with a really good ability. There are some brawlers on the bench, though. Hey.
Hey, you don't want to keep talking so much about Brand or you'll get branded as a bad player. Okay, that's probably the last.
My LP does that for me. Don't
worry. We're seeing a lot of these level 1 Dravens, and I gotta say the little mini Draven, he's a little Draven that could, but a lot of times he can't. He needs items and he needs to be at least level 2, and we're seeing Kladeous' Jinx just bully right now.
Yeah, those rocket barrages are just too strong.
It's not rocket barrage.
It's a barrage of rockets.
I mean, it's called Get Excited. And oh man, we got another 500 bits from TSKeeShu. Been following Faye's new TFT guide and been climbing. Yes, Faye did put out a guide for this new meta 9.20. Definitely check that out on the HeroesHearth website. And again, TSKeeShu, thank you so much for the bits and for supporting the community and TFT Fight Night.
Faye makes a lot of really good TFT-based content on the Fight Night website, so make sure you guys do check it out if you are looking, or the HeroesHearth website, I'm sorry. So if you are looking for any written content about this game, that is definitely a great place to go. Looking to see what Master is rolling down for, other than
level 2 Draven for sure.
Right.
And Draven and Sedge are really all that he can get. I think what Master is going to be doing, obviously, in the driver's seat here with that win streak and 73 health buffer, doesn't necessarily need to invest in the win streak, because at this point in the game, if you're getting a huge win streak, you're just going to be winning anyway. Yeah. He wants to save his gold, get to level 8, and then roll down for that Swain and that level 2 Draven. Taking a loss here isn't the worst. No. Going to put him back down into the middle of the pack or upper middle. Actually directly in the middle of the pack here. Not the worst. I could see potentially having invested in there and going for the win streak, but it's a risky gambit, because if you miss there, you might just be dead.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, at this point in the game, just having 50 gold, being able to be gaining as much as you can to see levels 8 and 9 to make that Swain more likely is really the entire ball game for Master Law. But we're looking at Jinx now. Man, the items on that Varus get me pretty excited. Even though it's not Jinx, the items aren't
we
Jinx.
Have the Jinx. We have the Jinx squared now. Jinx running Jinx finally. But it looks like it's just a naked Jinx. Although it does have Hex Tech, but no items. I would imagine we'll probably see that Jinx wear the items once she gets level 2. But really, this is that point where Jinx has invested some gold into his comp, but is just not strong enough here. He gets chunked for 16.
Can we watch
those hits? He's dead too.
Can we watch Rayditz for a second? Look at how much damage that Yuumi does. With the Gnar does with the Yuumi on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just insane. It's like 3/4 of their HP, if not more, gone with every single swing after that Gnar transforms. It's just crazy. I want to see that again with another PvP round if we could.
Yeah, he does get a lot of he does get that ability damage, but he doesn't actually even have sorcerer buff here, which is so it's really interesting to me actually that he even made the Yuumi.
Hit the 4 Imperials, but only has 2 Knights. So this is a very, very curious composition. I think we're going to be seeing something a little off the wall here from Rayditz in this round. But
he gets the Giant Slayer for the Draven.
He does.
Or the BT, the Bloodthirster.
Which would you go?
Oh man, I'll let you know after. Believe me, I'm taking notes here, Chad.
Personally, I go Bloodthirster 10 out of 10 times, but like you, Blevins, I'm very curious to find out where I'm wrong by watching these players. Yeah. We do see the second dragon get in there for Rayditz as well. The classic Imperial shapeshifter dragon composition. It is coming together a little bit though. There was 2 out of 3 shapeshifters before, so spent the gold to level up, get to 8, and now
goes for the Giant Slayer.
Does go for the Giant Slayer.
That's what I was kind of thinking, but I also wouldn't. It is very good. It just makes his damage output so high. But again, with the only being a level 1, being a little baby Drave, not gonna be strong enough here. Actually, just gets dumpstered.
Yeah, it was particularly brutal. The Giant Slayer is probably mostly correct, but it's just there's rounds where the Bloodthirster, just depending on what's left, right? Or it's just your Draven standing against 5 units.
Oh, the Heartbreaker. Faye getting 8th place here.
That is brutal. I'm clearly the curse. I'm clearly the curse. But as a caster, is that not my job? Am I not here to curse these players? I don't know. I've watched enough esports broadcasts.
We're getting word here that it is absolutely not your job to do that.
Positively not our job.
In fact, it's right there. Rule number 1, don't curse the players.
Oops. Sorry, Jules.
Oops. And it does look like Master of Lol did hit that 4 Imperial. Still only the little baby Drave. There's a lot of players going for him. And not a lot of people getting the level 2.
No, and a lot of these players that have the level 1 are like I've seen pass on multiple Jinxes. So you almost wonder at what point how many players need to be going for it before you switch off of it. But they're better equipped to do that math than me. It is. It's not gonna.
I'm already picking JawKneeYou to win this game, regardless of anything else.
In a very, very strong spot with that particular unit. Were there any items on it though? Oh yeah, we're looking at them right now.
Giant Slayer and a Trap Claw. So just 2 best in slot unit items. I mean, it wants the third one item wants to be a Rage Blade, but
no way to get the Yasuo's though.
I mean, no, there's not.
But we mentioned it last round. That Trap Claw on the Kai'Sa really shores up the one big weakness she has, which is getting CC'd. Not the tankiest of units, but does obviously dash around and gain shields. So when you're able to shut down that dash, you're in a really good spot. Does get Phantom, though. Now it's in the back line. Can it dash? If it dashes, he's in a good spot. All right, I think he's going to be okay here. Oh, no, it's down.
Evaporated from the Pantheon ult. Jinx saying, I don't care about tier 2 Kai'Sa. That unit is garbage when it only has 100 health.
How much money did you put down on to put down on that Kai'Sa to win
I put all of the money I have on him. Luckily, that was nothing.
We have 1,500 bits to play with, thanks to chat and the donations here.
I just
no way to gamble.
That's not how that works at all.
No, it's not. But if we won,
I do have 500 bits on my account that I can throw in here. So maybe we'll see.
TFT betting site incoming. I can feel it.
Except I don't win. I'm just putting it in. So we'll see.
That's called donating, Blevins, which you can do at any time. Send us a copy pasta and we will read it out.
You know what? I will after the third game. So after this game and the one after, I will match I'll match the bit donation of the best copy pasta that comes up. So just keep them coming in, guys. I'm matching it.
Also, send more than 500 so that he needs to buy bits in order to do this.
Screw me over, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just pile.
This is your chance to ranch the caster.
Reverse caster cursing.
Because I'm an idiot. Okay, there's a limit to the amount of money I have. I will.
What's the biggest bit donation this channel's ever gotten? That's what I want to know. 10,000 is the most. Blevins, you're in trouble. There's some pretty big HeroesHearth fans. That is true. Well, we'll see what happens. We're just going to have to see what happens. It's a 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And full HP Swain versus 2 barely alive units, and the barely alive units get the job done. The Katarina has that built-in heal prevention, so really kind of countered that Swain. And Professor, unfortunately, taking that 7th place finish there, not getting any points. And it's looking like my bet's not paying off here. As JawKneeYou's down to 3 health as well. Jinxed actually on the win streak right now. Yep. But Kladeous sitting in first place at the moment with 58 HP. That's who we're looking at right now. Got the Jinx carry. The one player in the lobby that didn't fight tooth and nail over Dravens and just decided to take the Jinxes is in a very good spot. These Phantom buffs. The Phantom hitting the Sedge so strong. But this Jinx does have the Hextech Gunblade, so able to get a little bit of survivability out of this and going to be able to take down JawKneeYou and eliminate him for 6th place. Ooh, so good thing I didn't put any money on it. You're fortunate, my friend. You are fortunate, but we will move along with this lobby here. Man, we are deep into stage 5. I don't think I realized how deep into this game we are. Oh yeah, we're on Dragon here. I just see how many players are left and think, oh, this is stage 4. We're fine. Nope. But no. It starts off, so this meta starts slow, but then it ramps up real quickly. We start seeing 15, 20 damage chunks taken out of players. Yeah. And here DXN and Rayditz are with 10 and 9 HP. So really holding on for their lives here as we go into Drake. Hopefully the unthinkable doesn't happen. They're able to clear this round just fine. But the PvP rounds will be very intense for these two players. The difference between 5th and 4th place is a very big deal here for anybody trying to make a run. And Rayditz, of course, obviously with the win last round, right? Yeah. So really, really important to make sure he continues to get points and climb up here. Obviously, currently the 2nd place player from last round is sitting on top. So the lead could very easily be changing hands the way things are if Rayditz slips up even once, just one round. Yeah, it really only takes a one round slip up, and I mean, if Rayditz is on the bubble right now, it's a Blevins donut is not where you want to be, especially when you're trying to make that contention or that 1st place contention here. Rayditz already positioning in the far corner, not confident in his build right now, especially when the Draven gets hex-teched, and then Leona. Oh, that's brutal, and then Leona again. Oh no, Rayditz. Rayditz drops. No. DXN not kind enough to lose, just slightly in advance of Rayditz either. So 5th place for Rayditz, no points this round. A tough loss. He'll have to root for Master of Law, I think. I don't think he placed. Yeah, he was 5th place last time. So that's probably where Rayditz is rooting at the moment. Somebody with no points to get 1st place here. Oh, DXN surviving
with 2 HP.
2. Crazy. From what, 9?
Yeah, he
9?
took. Yeah, he took 7 damage, which is crazy.
Well, this will certainly be his last chance. No living from 2, that's for sure, if you lose. Kladeous, though, still keeping the win streak going in a very good position here. Again, streaking at exactly the right time.
Yeah, I can streak early, which is mildly useful, but the late streak is where you obviously want to be. And his baby Draven, his baby no more, has full items and is a level 2 and just doesn't care about all these spells. It's like, I got my sneeze guard, guys.
I was terrified for him. Put him on the front line. It was the last unit to die, but not good enough. DXN is going to be getting 4th place in this round. Looks like from what he's typing, the Swain was too strong for him to contend with.
Ooh, and Jinx actually fell there in 3rd.
Oh, down to 2 players.
And we're in the final 2. Master of Law versus Kladeous. And, oh, man, the Kladeous is in a strong spot. Yes. I mean, this is kind of like a ragtag comp. He's got Guardians. He's got the Jinx. Karthus with Phantom. He's got the Hex Tech. Oh, man, what is... I don't even know. Is he putting a second Jinx in just because? Second level 2 Jinx. Oh, could we see the tier 3 Jinx? That's what I want to see. That's an auto win in my book.
Certainly possible. We see the Poppy eat the Hex Tech buff. The Guardians boost up all the units in the back line there. Katarina ultimate not able to get very much done. Kladeous is making short work of this game right now with his kind of, I mean, not sloppily, but it is a little bit thrown together composition here. Very, very powerful. Just a phenomenal job building a composition that can perform this strongly.
And is Kladeous just the making the most 5-head move ever of, oh, my hyper carry ran out of item slots, so I'm just gonna make a second one of it and start putting items on it?
I'm curious to see where that Zeke's goes. I
mean, it can go on.
No, there's no Hex Tech, so
you can just
slap it right on Karthus.
Karthus or the other Jinx. I mean, yeah. Karthus it works on. I mean,
I'd put it on Karthus just so I wouldn't have to move anything else, but that's probably not the winningest tournament play that you can make.
I'm too lazy to move.
2 more Jinxes away from the tier 3.
Ooh,
hey, I called it.
Can't be bothered to move those units around.
When in doubt, just take the lazy route, you know?
Yep, true. That I think that was Thomas Jefferson that coined that phrase.
Oh, that was just my motto in college, so I don't know. It worked for me.
Actually looking a lot closer, and
Master of Law able to get the win. Didn't see what changes he made.
I didn't see what the changes were, but it was a big Karthus alt, and I don't know if I remember seeing that demon either.
Something happened because there's a lot more than just Knights Imperials on the board right now. Okay, gave up 6 Knights to bring in some Blade Masters and some other synergies.
Smart.
Brought Demon in as well. You going against the composition they're going against, you just don't necessarily need that, frankly, nerfed 6 Knight bonus. So drops one of them, is able to make a world of difference for the rest of the composition and paying off in a big way here for Master of Law.
Absolutely.
Can he get the upset?
Man, the Draven doesn't even have full items and gets Leona. That is, I think, going to seal the deal here.
That kill, not going to be enough.
Bought an extra second, but Master of Law, if your Draven gets stunned like that, it is not going to be good for you. But it is very, very good for Kladeous as he runs the 2nd place into 1st place finish and really making a run here at the beginning, the first half of the HeroesHearth TFT fight night. Really, man, I mean, these matches have been close. Even though Kladeous was at the top half of most of these games, we saw very close lobbies here.
Yeah, just, I mean, players living super, super late into stage 5, you know, not something we've seen in past metas, or at least not all of them. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. Players can really, I think, rely on playing towards that late game and are going to be able to, purposefully int a little bit if they want to boost their late game potential. It's working for Kladeous so far. Obviously, he gets a first and a second place, so he is going to be towards the top, definitely at the top of our leaderboard, which we're looking at right now. He has 7 points. Looks like second place is Rayditz with 4 still. Master of LOL in third place with 3. Then we have DXN, Professor, and Jinxed all with 2. And to round out the bottom, we have JawKneeYou and Faye, who have yet to accrue any points. So gonna need a big performance from Faye or JawKneeYou here to be able to make an impact and make a run for first place. Faye, of course, the defending champion, would like to have the option of what to do with the bounty here.
Yep, for sure. And we will be sure to bring it back to you guys after this break here on the HeroesHearth TFT Fight Night. Welcome back, everyone, to the HeroesHearth TFT Fight Night. And we are rounding into the second half here. And we have a little bit of a front runner in Kladeous so far, but it is still technically anyone's game. As we take a look at the scores here, we can see just how close this actually is. Yes, again, Kladeous up in the top spot here, but absolutely not secured. We could see any of the bottom players rattle off 2 wins in a row and actually be above Kladeous if he finished in the bottom. So definitely still anyone's game here as we go into these other rounds. And of course, these players are going to want to place as high as they can in these last 2 rounds because they are going to be playing for some great prizes, which you can actually contribute to in the chat here with your bit donation. So we definitely want to see some more bits to help contribute to the prize pool. Need more bits.
Yeah, but let's get into this lobby here. Start game 3 off. Take a look at the opening carousel, see what these players are going to be doing. There are 2 players left in the lobby without any points, so I think it's safe to expect them to, throw the home run ball here. They're throwing a Hail Mary. They need to hit one of the most powerful meta compositions in order to find first place here, bring themselves back into running to be able to win the event. So it's all or nothing here at this point for Faye and JawKneeYou. So it'll be interesting to see what compositions they go with, what their strategy is going forward. But Blevins, there's an elephant in the room. There's something chat would like us to discuss, and that would be our beards. They want to know how we take care of these things. Do you want to start or should I? There's only one thing we both do and have in common that I know of.
I mean, my beard care is very elaborate. You see, I take this fabulous brush here, and you just give it a little stroke, little beard stroke.
Yeah, that's really it for both of us. You buy yourself a horsehair brush and comb your beard regularly. It's relaxing. It soothes me. It calms me down when I'm in a bad mood.
It's a little bit of ASMR too.
A little bit.
I know it freaks out some people, so I won't do it on the cast. But it's definitely riveting talk in these early rounds, and there's not much to talk about. But a lot of
2
people,
items for Jinxed.
2 items for Jinx that make a Giant Slayer, by the way.
Just a Giant Slayer.
And another bow on top of that, just for good measure.
I mean, it came with one. So
really strong, almost as strong as our beards, which are au naturel. But a lot of people always ask me, and I know, Death, you've had some experience with it as well, about beard oils and waxes and stuff. And I've definitely used them before, but I'm not the biggest fan.
I hate beard oil with a passion. Since it's very on topic, we might as well talk about it. Nobody wants the smell of the woods in your face when you're trying to eat. Okay, so stay away from beard oils. If you need one, baby oil, just comb it into your beard. It'll be great. It'll if it's dry or anything like that. But for the most part, I don't use anything. I have this beard so that I can get away with being lazy and not shaving every day. Yeah. So if I were to suddenly get into this elaborate hair care regimen to take care of the beard, it would really just defeat the whole purpose. So.
Now, I will say one beard life hack is look up a beard blowout with a hair dryer. It'll change your beard life. Let me tell you.
Have you ever straightened your beard?
That's kind of what the blowout is.
Is it?
It's almost like a straightener. I won't go into it. Just look it up. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Not a sponsor.
Hashtag what is it? Charles Schwab? I don't know whatever they are. They're not a sponsor, so don't need to shout them out. But yeah, I'm telling you, just trust me. You're gonna really. I was blown away the first time I did it. I was like, holy crap. It like straightens out your beard. It gives it shape. It makes it nice and fluffy and soft. It has been girlfriend approved as well. So don't take my word for it. It's just girlfriend approved as well.
That's who wants to straighten mine. And I'm like, I need to know more about what I'm going to look like after I do this, if I'm going to do it. But
you look like a stud just like this. So shaving my beard and never growing it has been confirmed.
All right, we're into PvP rounds. We can talk a little bit about teamfight tactics now. We might as well.
Yes, everyone who left the chat, come on back. We're going to be talking TFT here. We actually see the early. This is the super early level up from JawKneeYou, going with 3 shapeshifters right off the bat and the wild buff from the level 2 Warwick. Very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, one of those players that needs to hit the home run. First place, very, very important to the 2 left with 0 points. So JawKneeYou's trying to do that by way of an early win streak. It would look like starting out strong with the first win here. So as much as can be done has been done.
It absolutely is. And he actually picks up another Jace here, but we move over to Professor, who maybe it was Kladeous. Someone had that early Kennen and just snapped off that Guardian Angel. It might have actually been Professor. Looks like they're running it back here, or it's very strong. The Kennen with the Guardian Angel is certainly a unit that you are not unhappy to have in your end game comp. And also you can transition the items onto another unit. It's a very safe early game investment.
Yeah, and the GA and the Morellonomicon, as you mentioned, are just so good at transitioning somewhere else because of how versatile they are. Every composition has a unit in it that can make use of both of those items extremely well. So, and also really helps fight against somebody that does do like an early level or something like that, just the AoE nature of the Kennen ability. And I believe we might see that happen right here as the 3 units beats the 4 units. Master of Law does drop to ProfessorTFT in the 2nd round. Big win for Professor there.
Big win there. And interesting here, he's keeping the pairs of both the Pikes and the Zeds instead of going for the early econ. That's one where I'm very hard pressed to not sell one of those pairs of units to get that early econ, because he ended the round with 6. Could have sold 2 of those 2-cost units to get up to 10 there, opting to keep both of them. And actually, we see a pair of Kha'Zixes as well. Could actually be going into an assassin build, which we have not seen, I don't think, yet in this lobby.
Definitely not in the late game. We've seen a couple of Kali's floating around here and there, but never inside the last 3 players. So it's an interesting strategy. It's I'm not sure it's capable of paying off in this meta, but they would know better than me.
It's certainly, the Akali has seemed much more an Imperial first and an Assassin's very far second.
Yeah.
This again, this is going to be close here. The demon hits, 2 demon hits in a row is actually going to be clutch, but it doesn't matter. That Kennen with the ninja buff is just going to do too much damage. Doesn't even need to ult the second time.
No, it doesn't. But going to give Professor the early win streak gold here. So we're going to go into the first carousel, and of course, surprise, surprise, DXN takes the BF sword straight away. We will see Kladeous scoop up the recurve bow. Yeah, and actually kind of a late spatula making the rounds here. Spatula, one of those, like, it's very powerful, and it can be swingy because it can do such unique things. It can give you that 4th knight without having to run a 1-cost unit. It can give you a 3rd sorcerer if you want. It can give you so much. The spatula, especially early, is one that I really like to prioritize because it just leaves you so open to do some really unique things early on. Yeah, definitely. And it used to be kind of the BF sword of previous patches, right? It was the automatic, the thing people just snapped off, and that has not been the case lately. Most compositions want one, ideally. Plenty of them don't need it, and I don't think any of them really need it early. So it's created an interesting meta around spatula. Do you pick it up while you got the opportunity to grab it so you don't have to worry about it anymore? Or do you leave yourself the ability to just pick it up off wolves or Krugs or something like that? It's, I don't think, a question we've seen the answer to yet, but a lot of players experimenting with a lot of different things. Yeah, I like it not only for its versatility, but also it is a slightly rarer item. You can only get it in those gold drops. So I like to take the opportunity to take it. Maybe that's part of my downfall here. But we do see Professor continuing on his streak here. Really just a strong bevy of units, not necessarily in any particular synergy, but the GA Kennen just can streak you for so much of the early game. Yeah, he's completely wide open. Can go in either direction, either into the brawler compositions or into one of the many knight-based compositions. To me, that's exactly where you want to be in stage 2. You just want to have options. You want to wait and see what you're given. It's so important not to roll down more than you absolutely have to hit the upgrades that you need to hit. So when you're able to leave yourself open to both of the 2 popular meta-based compositions or frontline compositions of knights and brawlers, you can go anywhere with it. You can let what 5 cost minions you're able to pick up really determine what you play, and that is incredibly valuable as we see Jinxed go against Rayditz here, and Rayditz comes out victorious.
Rayditz really making a push here. Had 2 4th place had the 1st place finish and then out on the bubble. So really needs to, he needs to make a run just as much as anyone else here. But it feels almost like a lost opportunity when you start with that 1st place finish and then just barely miss out on points in the 2nd round. Rayditz really has something to prove here.
Yeah, it would have meant a very big difference for his ability to overtake Kladeous here in 1st place, who's almost maxed out the amount of points possible to get over the first couple of rounds. Yeah, so in a really, really strong spot. Everybody else playing catch up as we see Krugs now. We're watching DXN here. Let's see what items he's able to get.
Yeah, it looks like there we go. It was a little choppy on my end for a second, but it looks like we're back into the action. Picks up a gloves here and the sparring gloves. Not really. The Trap Claw is certainly one of the more popular items to go for, I think. He can actually pop off the Thieves Gloves here if he wants to build the Thieves Gloves.
It's so strong.
It is, and one interesting thing here is if DXN did want to make the Thieves Gloves here, so the way Thieves Gloves works is it can be the only item that a unit can carry. So it looks like we might actually see it here. The Thieves Gloves will actually pop off of the Varus, leaving the Giant Slayer on and able to put the Thieves Gloves onto, in this case, his Kha'Zix here. So really heads up play there.
Yeah, probably a temporary home for the Thieves Gloves. Looking at the composition, I don't know how long Kha'Zix will remain in it, but that just makes it the perfect unit to hold on to the Kha'Zix here. So,
yeah, we are again seeing the Varus holding that Giant Slayer, really being kind of a clutch unit here in these first rounds. And this, the Kennen ult. Just outside of the Varus is just outside of the range. Oh, just that's a heartbreaker.
And Seraphs from the Thieves Gloves just gave the Kha'Zix so much value that it was just behind the 8 ball at that point. We will see DXN go for the level up here. So he is now level 6, gets to put the extra unit on the board and finds the Sejuani, an incredibly powerful option.
Definitely something that you are going to want in a lot of different comps. Any knight-based comp is going to want the Sejuani. Looks like he is going off of the Varus plan, so maybe not going with the Rangers necessarily. But
and we might see those Thieves Gloves stick around longer.
Yeah, we are actually seeing the Assassin's dream come true, but not for Professor here. It's actually DXN. And being in the maybe we are actually in the old meta here as Akali making, I think, her first appearance we've seen all day.
Yeah, I think we've seen her around a little bit, but not with
very
success.
Small amount.
Yeah, not with much success. So she didn't stay long. As we see ProfessorTFT able to get the win over Jinxed here in a very strong position, sitting at the top of our lobby now with 95 HP. Did just lose a round or two ago, and had to have been the only loss. So.
It was his first loss. And you can almost see he's kind of sitting. He's been sitting back the whole time, but it almost looks like he's like, "Oh, you ruined my win streak! How dare you!" I'm going to go eat 3 Gala apples now. No, the chat wasn't here for the pre-show to know what I'm even referencing. That's okay, because Gala apples are great.
Don't worry, chat. You're the lucky ones.
Yeah.
But we're 1 round away from a carousel here, so it's going to be very interesting to see who's able to come out on top. I always feel like, I don't know if this is actually confirmed or actually true, but to me it feels like there's a lot more movement as you get players inting in the last round here. They know they're one item away from a very important upgrade, something along those lines. I don't know if we'll see that this time around. Certainly not from Professor, as he's able to get the win. Now we go over and check out Faye, who's going to be able to get the win here in this round at the expense a little bit. Oh, takes down Master of Law there. Okay, so yeah, it was Professor who only had the one loss, but Faye still in the middle here. Another one of those players that's in the Hail Mary situation, currently sitting at 0 points. If anybody can come back from there, it's certainly Faye. So let's see what she's able to get out of this carousel. Looks like leaning towards a recurve bow. Take the brand. Take the brand. Take the brand.
She just juked you out so
bad. Me so bad.
You just got so jabated. Can we get some jabated?
She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing.
She knows. The thing here is, and I in a position where that Faye is in, I'm not saying that Faye will play like this or that we've even seen her play like this, but being in that position when your back's against the wall, you can very easily get into the position where you're playing too conservatively, because it's like, oh, I can't lose here. I need to get a top 4 no matter what. So you play a little bit conservatively. I find myself doing this when I'm on like a lose streak in ladder, where I'm like, I need to get a top 4 here. I don't care. I like the meta comps float out of my mind. I'm like, I just need to get as strong as I can right now. I spend my gold too early. I peak out too early, and I just end up being even worse. Now, it'll be interesting to see if JawKneeYou and Faye can prevent themselves from this folly that I seem to find myself.
I was going to say, I think that's the difference between, being a goose egg and being the
Sure.
literal queen of Fight Night.
Absolutely.
But hey, we're going to find out with a quickness here, as JawKneeYou able to pick up a win, knock Master of Law down a peg here. Both players at level 6.
Still getting that sweet pirate gold.
Yes. Adds up, and very important for getting you to 50. So level 2 Lulu here for Master.
Give me that mana. Oh yeah.
Gotta expand my screen here so I can see the synergies a little bit better.
Yeah, we got Pirate, Sork, Void, Gunslinger. I mean, if that's not meta, I don't know what is. No, seriously, I don't know what is.
I don't know either, but for the time being, seems to be working okay, despite a couple losses here in the last 3. Seems to have gotten things back on track, and I think we can reasonably expect a power spike from him after Wolves. Probably going to spend some of that gold.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, this is why you go. This is exactly why you go Pirates. You get a little bit low health while you're accruing even more money. You get really great picks on the carousel, and you set yourself up for that late game. So
he's gone already. But Blevins, have you ever seen worse Graves items from a Thieves Glove in your life?
Oh, I didn't even see what they were.
It was a Rabadon's Death Cap, and I'm blanking on the Static Shiv, which actually gets a little bit of value, but not a whole lot. Just not really Graves items.
That's pretty close to the worst possible Graves items you could get.
Hard to win.
Pretty close to the best you could get.
You're not wrong there either. Oh man, I never even thought about putting the Giant Slayer on the Graves with the scatter.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. The Graves, unfortunately, is just a tough. He's a tough sell for me. I really don't even want to consider him unless he's tier 3, and I really don't want to consider going the tier 3 Graves a lot of the time. So
double RFC and red buff, and then just watch your opponent's boards melt.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things to do. It's in my opinion, the only way to do. Yeah, but it's very narrow because you need to get 4 recurve bows.
Right.
And it's all or nothing. Either you get the items and it's great, or you're just doomed. But we will see here now as we move into stage 4. Professor's going to finish the Zed, spending down some of his gold.
So this is actually a really interesting spot for Professor, and I'm thinking this might actually be the 500 IQ play here. So if you look at Professor's items, really kind of awkward build here. Like not really a lot of offensive items. He can make a Thieves Gloves potentially. He could make really not. he can make a Titanic Hydra, he can make a Trap Claw, but really not a lot of offensive items. And the fact that he's going assassins with that is actually seems like a really good idea, because the assassins just have so much base attack damage potential with their crit chance that it's actually it could actually be kind of a fix to this really awkward item drop for Professor. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going something like 4 ninjas. That's a good comp that doesn't necessarily, it's not the strongest comp in the world, but when you have these awkward items, it can be one of the best solutions to that.
Yeah, and part of the reason comps like that are significantly seem underpowered is the difficulty to assemble it. It's not the actual power of it when you get it, it's that it's a little tough to assemble. Mm-hmm. So if he's able to assemble it, I think he can make very good use of it. And also I think the assassins are strong with the Thieves' Glove specifically.
Yep.
The assassins find ways to use almost anything, whether it's mana to just use their abilities more often, right, or you're getting infinity edges, just attack damage. Almost any item can work pretty well on an assassin. So I think that's a great call. It's a great way to salvage it. It might be difficult to get first place in the lobby with a defensive item kit on your assassin build, but again, we're in a tournament setting, so you're trying to amass top 4 finishes in order to place, not necessarily win every single lobby that you're in.
Right. And speaking of weird items, I don't know if we've ever seen that. The Giant Slayer Yuumi Warmogs are Warmogs on a Kali ever. So that's one of the most interesting builds I've ever seen. And do we have best in slot items on Kai'Sa for Jinxed with 4 voids? I think we do.
We do, and we also have the Guardians to really just stack more defense onto the Kai'Sa as well, make it that much more difficult. The Cho'Gath and the Kai'Sa are going to be just an absolute headache for anybody to deal with here.
Absolutely, and the Kai'Sa doing true damage as well is just so strong. No, the Kai'Sa,
there it is. Okay,
she's at the bottom. She's down at the bottom of the map, just chunking away. Just so strong. Even at level 1, it just doesn't matter. No. That shield just ate the Zed Shuriken. Doesn't matter. And if we can get if Jinx can find a way to fit even a single ranger into his comp, it's just going to be the Kai'Sa's just going to be so good. Jinx is in a really strong spot to. He has probably the highest ceiling right now in terms of potential here. It's just, is Jinx going to be able to find the upgrades that he needs before he gets too many early losses?
Yeah, and with a couple points from last round in round 2, able to pull off, I believe it was 3rd place. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was 3rd place. So a first place here puts Jinx immediately right in the running.
Absolutely.
To be able to take down the first place spot. A lot. I mean, Kladeous is in the driver's seat. If he just gets first and second in the next 2 lobbies, then he's almost certainly going to be good to go. But any slip up at all, and these players like Rayditz and Jinxed and DXN and Master of LoL are just going to be right there to upset and take over that first place spot.
Absolutely. It's definitely a spot that you want to be in for Kladeous. But speaking of spots you want to be in, Death, your boy Rayditz is running the brand. He got there.
Gonna win. I mean, just first place. Lock it up.
Easy
clap.
Game. Definitely going to be wanting a win after the disappointing 5th place bubble finish for him last round.
Yeah. I'm just happy to see another brand loyalist out there, such as myself.
Oh God, please kill me.
No gold here though for Rayditz, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plans going forward. Currently at level 7, right? So gonna need to stack up some gold. Oh, maybe Jinx is at 8. It's possible that Rayditz is as well.
Faye took down Jinx there. Actually did a pretty sizable chunk, and that's got to be scary if you're Jinx. If he had any sort of economy left, definitely going to want to probably spend it. And
Faye in 7th place. I'm surprised too, or actually looks like 7th place. I'm surprised too because it has that kind of very meta, not taking any chances brawler composition here that's just known to be very, very strong. The only thing really that's weak in the composition at the moment for her is the level 1 Blitzcrank that I can remember seeing. But we're watching Jinx now. We're going to see the Cho'Gath ultimate, knocks up 4, kills 1.
Oh, and there's the power of the Trap Claw there. Gets hit by the Sejuani ult, but the Trap Claw just goes, nah, instead I'll just survive in your...
And knocks out DXN from this lobby here. So our first player down, maybe the earliest exit we've seen from a player so far.
It's definitely close. I think we've been seeing 2 to 3 players out before Dragon. So perhaps, I mean, this is before Chickens even. That's a tough one to swallow. Unfortunately, I've had to do that multiple times on ladder lately.
I'm curious to see what Faye is going to be able to do with this composition. Typically, part of the Blitzcrank and the Brawler Jinx composition is an Ionic Spark or 2 on your Blitzcrank. It really helps unlock the damage from the Rocket Grab and just provides a steady output of damage throughout the course of the game as your opponent's units use abilities. It just helps wipe them out. So she's going to have to make up that damage somehow, but right now that's a very well-kitted Jinx, level 2 as well. So as long as she's able to get the rockets going and get Jinx excited, then I think she's going to be in a good spot.
I actually like this build from Faye, opting for the sort of Cho'Gath focus with the Morello and the Locket, actually providing a little bit of extra health on that front line for her units. And
Just
also
right now. Nothing to put out though.
Nothing to add, unfortunately. Really wants a Lucian or at least some other gunslinger to just get those extra procs from the Jinx. But the
level 8 now probably wants the Misfortune, I would think.
Misfortune, yeah, any gunslinger really is what she's looking for here. Unfortunately does not have the ability to make that choice, but
Picks up Wild, might as well.
Why you need something in there, right? And she does not have a lot of health to play with, unfortunately. The Jinx getting the first kill. The second one's going to be huge. She is excited. Popping off with those rockets. Gets hooked by the Blitzcrank. Does not matter. Gigantic win, unfortunately. Or I guess fortunately, it was against a ghost, so didn't hurt anyone.
Fortunately for both her and Kladeous, since it was Cladeous's ghost that fell down, but she is now on the win streak, so hoping to be able to stack up some gold. And now that she's level 8, just a couple turns to build up some gold, roll down, find that gunslinger that she really needs. Like we said, probably the ideal choice would be the Misfortune, but we'll see what she ends up getting. And we're going to see Rayditz move some items over to the Aurelion Soul, just level 1, not able to find the upgrade for it yet. That's going to be a very big deal for him. Thankfully, he's got in first place with just a ton of HP to work with, so got plenty of time to find it.
Has the ability to make that investment now, but that is such a hard decision to make. Do I want to take the, technically stronger Varus right now versus the absolutely going to be stronger if I get the level 2 A-Soul? So makes that decision. And when you got the Lissandra, it just doesn't matter. She can still clean up. And also that same level 1 cannon from the beginning of the game.
The curse is real. The curse of the level 1 early 3-drop is.
But who cares? I got my A-Soul. And close to, probably would rather have a Morello, but close to best in slot items there for that A-Soul.
Yeah. Looks like Faye lost her win streak here, so fell in the last round. Now very, very likely, no more than 2 losses left able to be absorbed for Faye.
Speaking of losses, our current first place player, Kladeous,
I didn't even notice. Place. That is so big for the entire rest of this lobby.
The floodgates are open. Oh, boyo. Ooh,
that's the window. That is the window Faye needed to be able to complete the comeback here.
Absolutely. Oh, and Faye, the Jinx killing that cannon before the ult was absolutely huge. Gets excited, and unless this cat has the biggest ult of her life.
Get out of here, Swain.
Not going to have enough. Professor not going to have enough there. Master of LOL surviving at 3 health as we see it on the side. Getting I'm getting excited here. I must have got my second kill there looking at these health scores go down on the sidebar. Rated still very heavily in first place here.
Very comfortable lead for him for sure.
Has a lot and is in that it's a very good spot. It's one thing to be in first and be capped out and be like, I don't know how I'm going to get stronger here. I'm going to have to spend 60 gold to level up. But Rayditz is in a spot where he's strong and also just has a lot of upgrades he can make. He's got 2 sedges on his bench that he can replace a unit for. He's also got some other units that are in his comp right now that he can look to level 2. So he's in a good spot. If he wants to spend gold, he can get stronger now if he wants to.
Yeah, and we see Master of Law able to find a Kaisa to replace one of his assassins, get a couple items stacked on it. That is the last hope here for Master of Law on 3 HP to be able to make a run. Gonna go against Faye.
The Kaisa gets hex-teched, but I don't know if that's going to matter that much. The items are not super great on the Kaisa, but
it's down!
Wombo comboed! Oh, man. The Blitzcrank into the Vi alt was just like, no. Run as fast as you can, Master Ball. It's not going to matter.
Faye's Jinx is just permanently excited. Just maximum hype at all times for that Jinx at the moment. We talked about the synergy with the Blitzcrank, and she's really demonstrating it in full effect right now.
Yeah, I mean, she's raining rockets down from above, but I think she's pumping up the jams like Lucio here, getting excited at every single juncture here. Does actually find another gunslinger, but it's going to be the backline gangplank. I love it.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these. I'm like being reminded of the assassin meta with the positioning a lot of these players, since there's some assassin builds in the lobby at the moment.
Also, Vi as well. You want someone in the corner to eat that. And there's a lot of positioning.
Are definitely a thing. I expected to see more pyramids, but Faye not.
And that Jinx is excited, but gets taken down by the Aesol sneeze.
It's fine.
Can the Aesol get another sneeze?
Oh my goodness!
3 kills. But the Warwick, if he can sneeze before he dies, no. Oh, that was so close. That was insane. There,
I was calling that way too early. You saw that sneeze coming, and I did not see the buildup. Really even that out fast.
Wow.
Is there a more hype thing in TFT than an Aurelion Soul sneeze that kills 4 units?
Karthus alts are close.
Yeah.
Karthus alts are close, but an Aurelion Soul sneeze is also because like Karthus alt, you see it coming. It's very like apparent that it's coming. The Aurelion Soul sneeze is like, no, you're dead. You're dead now. Out of nowhere. I love it.
I think my favorite has to be the Draven 1v6. Like just
those are cool too.
Those are just great. Can he do it? And each one it gets a little easier, but it's still hard to like see it happening. It's so much fun.
Like, can he do it? The answer is almost always yes.
Out in 5th place.
Ooh. Professor not quite getting there. Faye does sneak into 4th place, which is definitely where she wants to be.
No longer with a Blevins bagel on the board.
True.
By this round.
Absolutely. And I'm updating my score here because I'm an idiot. Okay. Yes, Jinxed here. Again, we predicted it early. Had the highest possible potential here with that Kaisa with just perfect items. Still doesn't have level 2 Kaisa though. But this is going to be a huge hit. Faye might be dead. Faye is absolutely dead. In
Jinxed with the
4th place.
No dragon buff yet, but does have the Guardian, and the Guardian buff right now is really, really strong. Does a lot of damage, and hit Jinx at the wrong time with the win streak, everything like that. I think she may have had a really good chance to beat any of the other players in the lobby, but just not Jinxed in that round. Just too strong for her. Unfortunate. 4th place is going to be a rough climb, just 1 point, but better than the bagel. So.
Right, we'll be able to see the scores after this match, but it's going to definitely be a tough one for sure. Rayditz actually facing off against Jinx's clone, which you don't want to see necessarily, and does not hit the Phantom on the Kaisa, which is again really pivotal to being able to beat him right now. looking like Jinx is going to take another huge chunk out of JawKneeYou here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
Jinx is, like I said, on fire. Probably the highest power level of anyone in the lobby at the moment. Got, I believe, 9 units out there. Yeah, there is a force of nature on his board. So more than most of the players have, I believe. I don't know if anybody else has 9, but not yet. At least it looks like. We'll see if anybody goes straight up for level 9 or is able to pull off a force of nature, or just able to build a composition that can stand up to what Rayditz is bringing.
Rayditz is also strong. Has like the opposite comp here. Has that Aurelion Soul Sneeze comp. It's going to be Sneezes versus the Kai'Sa, and I'm not sure. I mean, I err towards the Kai'Sa, but man, we saw that Aurelion Soul just evaporate units.
Phantom just put the Gnar down to 1 HP, and it got killed before it was able to transform.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, rough stuff here, and JawKneeYou able to take it anyways, though. Pulls out the victory there.
Yeah, he killed the ASOL pretty quick there, which is actually a huge factor. I mean, there's a lot of sort of composition power invested in that ASOL, and if it gets taken out early, the power level just drops precipitously.
Yeah, we saw a fight there on the carousel for the Trap Claw, so I think that is an item I've personally been underrating. We've seen a lot of it. It's funny.
It's very good.
I kind of called it out early as one that can really help the Kai'Sas, and I was right. But when I'm playing, for whatever reason, I just don't buy it, and that's gonna have to change after seeing all this today. Is that a mittens on that Morgana? That
sure is.
We still got the brand in there, Matt Rayditz. I cannot. I know I should be biased. I can't be. I'm rooting for you in this one, Ray. I believe.
I don't know. I'd have to be pretty hard pressed to go against Jinx here, especially if he ever gets the Kai'Sa 2. It's just over, and it might be over anyway.
I mean, but mittens plus brand. How does one beat that? That's what I want to know. We might find out, but I was gonna say not yet. Anyways, Jinxed.
Oh, Jinx actually got taken out there. I saw that backwards. Wow. Rayditz even surprised about that one. Jinx actually getting the back-to-back 3rd place here. And JawKneeYou surviving at 1 health with Rayditz in a solid 1st place. But, I mean, technically, JawKneeYou could knock out Rayditz here.
Well, yeah, 22 HP is not enough to be safe. That can end in 1 round. I've seen it multiple times happen to me plenty often enough. But, yeah, we will have to wait and see exactly what happens here. This is a huge game.
Trying to make the last second adjustments. Could this be what makes the difference? The Phantom goes on the Morgana, instantly taken out. The cannon goes off. Ooh, but the Gnar still stuns a bunch.
Can they whittle down that Gnar? Another ult from the cannon. It's going to be very, very important that stays alive. Not able to do so.
The Kindred did stop the ASOL ult, but it does not matter.
That's it. JawKneeYou for 1 HP.
1 health dream.
We were sitting here looking at the 0-point Faye, what she could be able to do. Could she get 1st place? JawKneeYou coming out of nowhere, taking down this lobby with Kladeous leaving the lobby with 0 points. Blevins, I can't wait to see this scoreboard. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this in the last fight night, actually, where going into this last round, it was literally, with the exception, I think, of 1 player, maybe 2, it was anyone's game to get in the top 3. And we might be in a similar situation. We saw a 3-way tie last time at the end of fight night for the last fight night. And we are going into the final round here, which does mean everyone in chat and watching at home, this is going to be your last chance to get in bits to contribute to the prizes here for fight night. So get your bits in, get your copy pastas in. We do absolutely want to see those.
We have a tie, Blevins.
We do. We've got ties here. We got Rayditz in first with 7 points. Jinxed and JawKneeYou in second. I mean, this is... I don't even want to think about the math. Just imagine the Zach Galifianakis calculus going in front of my face right now. I'm just gonna say it. Just a quick look here. If Faye wins, is at 5 points and the right people lose, we could see Faye still in the top 3 here. And she currently has the fewest number of points. So I'm saying it's still anyone's game.
Top 3 is possible, but Faye and Professor TFT not mathematically able to pull out first place here. Neither is DXN. Master of Law would need the lobby to, I mean, he would have to basically pick and choose where everybody finishes. Right. But technically, I believe still possible. But can
at least bring up the tie here.
Absolutely. And 3, top 3 is really important, right? The top 3 come back next week. So
top 3 come back next week and top 4 get prizes. So you definitely, it's still anyone's game for top 3. Depending on how the hexes fall, as they say. No one's ever said that.
But the bounty is safe. That much we know for sure as we get this 4th and last lobby ready to go here. We're going to have to really keep an eye on the Rayditz versus Kladeous battle. They are the front runners here to take home first place. Absolutely. As Blevins said, you guys can support these players with a prize pool donation by submitting bits and sending bits in. I believe it's 40%. I'm forgetting the percentages. I'm sorry. I don't know.
60% goes to the top 4. So you definitely want to contribute to that prize pool, get those bits in, and make sure that these players are getting some good prizes. So we definitely want to see that as we go into this very first carousel here. JawKneeYou starting off with that early spatula. I love the early spat. It usually ends up being my demise, but is some of the more fun games I have.
Yeah, maybe not something you do if you're really hoping to do the win streak early. The win streaks we've seen so far that have really paid off have basically involved cannons with GAs on them so far. But, the spatula doesn't build towards that. But almost all the spatula items in the right composition are incredibly powerful. They bring compositions that aren't normally viable into viability. Things like Blade Masters and Gunslinger compositions. Suddenly, a couple of those items, and you're good to go.
But do you know what the early spatula? Do you know what super late game comp the early spatula does build into?
What's that?
9 Yordles.
9 Yordles. I want 10 Yordles. 10 Yordles or bust, Blevins. I want to see it.
I think I'm getting word here. If someone gets 10 Yordles, it's just an automatic win of Fight Night. I'm just I mean, that word is coming from my head, not actually from the producers. It's not actually a binding contract, but I will consider you the winner if you get it. And Angry Dwarf also considering someone the winner here with 500 bits. Just the raw 500. Love it. Angry Dwarf, thank you so much for the bits. Thank you for contributing to the community. Really do appreciate it here. And Angry Dwarf, let us know who you want to win. Maybe the 500 bits is your spirit bomb. Everyone needs to get their spirit bomb for their player that they want to win right now. Get it in.
Yeah, everybody doing the pick your champion on Twitter, making their claim, trying to win a couple prizes themselves. But yeah, we will see. And we're looking now at DXN, got the early night strategy with Alessandra here. One more round of creeps to clean up, and then we will be getting into the all-important PvP battles. But these are very important too, because the item compositions and the item builds really define what your basically maximum power level will be. They really set the course for what you're trying to build and looking for in a big way.
Right. And we saw last round we saw Professor actually going for that early assassins comp, and it didn't end up paying off really that well. It just seems like this meta is so focused on the late game that even the like mid to late game sort of powerful comp of assassins just wasn't enough to get into a top 4.
You know what I'm keeping an eye out for here, Blevins? I don't think we've seen a Nico's help once in this event so far. I got my eye out. I'm trying to find one.
I haven't seen it. I don't remember seeing it. I mean, it's possible that they just get snapped up and used. I mean, I'm a Nico's help holder. I will end game Nico's helps, but I'm an idiot. So these power level, probably using them.
The power level of the level 2 5-coster, the legendary units, is so strong. It feels important to kind of hold on to them for that. I'll use them on occasion to finish a 3-star early if I'm protecting a win streak or something along those lines. But I'm loath to do it on anything that costs less than 4 gold to buy. So
And I'm getting word here that Angry Dwarf actually picked Professor TFT. So really going to need, I mean, if Professor spikes this win, he may very well get in the top 3 here, or the top 4 for prizes. Top 3 will be invited back to the next fight night. So definitely, I mean, we've got a 500-bit spirit bomb for him. Who knows what anyone else has?
Did you pick somebody else? Are you going to let that 500 bits be the reason that your champion doesn't win? That's the question.
True.
So who's gonna come out and give us 600 bits here to cheer on their favorite champion? That's what I'm
501.
That's the real suspense. Come on, 600. You got it. I mean, do you want them to just be a little bit better, or do you want your champion to dominate? I would want him to dominate.
That's true.
Moving on here, we got round 2 of PvP. We're going to take a look at what Faye's able to do here. Got the Shen here with a couple items. That's going to be very difficult to take down, even at level 1. And now, obviously, the 2v1. Even a level 2 Mordekaiser is not going to take down that Shen. So
yeah, the Hand of Justice is another one of those items that I have not. I don't have a solid opinion on, and I haven't been able to get a good feel from what top players think of it either. I think it just seems like one of those items that's like so down the middle. It always seems decent, but it never seems great. And I don't know if that's where you want to be in a meta like this, but certainly in the early game, it is very powerful, especially on a unit like Shen. That, I mean, the extra damage is huge, but the lifesteal can also be very, very helpful as well.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Ionic Spark, and that the value of it's very difficult to see and evaluate. So it's going to take, I think, a while even for the highest level of players to really figure out exactly what to do with that item. But there's no denying the power. I mean, you can outright see the power at times in certain compositions and on certain heroes. So it's just a matter of min-maxing and finding the best place for it. As we see Jinxed falling here to Kladeous, who's got the level 2 Cassidin, the level 2 Nidalee very early. So some very strong 1-cost champions. Yeah, very strongly on the prowl at the moment.
Definitely an interesting start here. We see Professor down at 83, Faye and Rayditz both at 100. Still obviously very, very early in this game. And I mean, I want to see like some wacky Hail Mary comps. I would love, I mean, I don't think we're going to see it, but I would love to see someone try to do like a hyper roll comp, like go for like the Golden Knights, the like tier 3 Vayne comp. I would love to see it. I think that these players are probably a little too good to get caught in that trap like I am, but I mean,
it's not always a trap though. Like there's a reason it came out, and you see some of them play it at times, but it really needs to be given to them, right? Like they need to be, there's certain signals that will force them to do that. Unlike me and you, where it's like, oh, I have a tier 2 Garen, so I'm just doing it. That's fine. That's what I'm deciding to do. That's enough for us, but not for these players.
Right. And Professor here looks like he rolled up the sleeves. He's looking for the rally here with the sleeveless rally. I love it.
Yeah, we will see. Currently sitting on 2 points. So an uphill battle for sure. But again, as we said, top 4 gets prizes. Top 3 comes back next week. So you don't have to get first place to have a successful event here. Professor trying to earn that invite back next tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm just trying to get back on the next week, I got to see if I hit top 3 in casters. Even though there's only 2 of us, I still think I might not top 3 and be invited back next week. We'll just have to wait and see there as we move on to Kladeous. With, again, we talked about it in an earlier round. Has that early Frozen Heart on the Vi here, which obviously it's great on Vi because she does travel across the map, does hit them everyone across the map with at least that 1 second attack speed slow, which can certainly be a difference maker.
It can be. It was much more powerful last meta, but we can see it
was broken last meta.
It was absolutely broken last meta, which was phenomenal. I liked it on Vi. I hated it on Assassins. Like Assassins didn't need that item and that 4-second debuff, but it was fine in Vi. But maybe it's just because I liked playing brawlers and never liked playing Assassins.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it it applied it on the initial jump. I thought it was just like on a pike jump, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel too bad. And it's like, oh,
yeah, no, you just start the round and the whole enemy team was slowed, and it was a nightmare.
That doesn't seem like that should be what that item does.
No, unintentional, I think was the that result. But we're moving into Krugs now. We're watching Professor TFT. He's got that. I'm blanking on what is the name? A Giant Slayer, right? Yeah,
Giant Slayer. Giant Slayer.
Yeah, on the Proud. Nidalee carrying it. So
Nidalee.
no real sign that they're really looking to go into shapeshifters, probably just a temporary placeholder for it. So I'm curious to see what exactly Professor's planning to build here into the late game.
I don't know if it matters because he's got 50 gold right now. He's sitting at a hefty economy here and a strong comp. Though he is at the bottom of the standings here with 74 on that 5 loss streak. I mean, this is where Professor really could make a push here and level up his comp and get to a much stronger spot. I mean, it looks like he's doing the slow level, which I do like to do. He's at a point now where if he loses some rounds, it's not the biggest deal. People aren't really strong. You're not going to be taking the 15, 20 damage you normally are, maybe taking 8 at most. So definitely a really versatile spot for Professor to be in. Ooh, Rayditz rocking your boy. Rocking your boy Brand.
A Brand loyalist.
Yes.
That was him last round too, right?
It's true.
He knows.
It's true, and he got second place.
Brand truthers. That's what's going on here. We know.
You might be onto something because Rayditz is generally speaking on the top 10 of the challenger ladder at all times. It seems like every single time I watch a streamer in challenger, Rayditz is in that lobby. It's Rayditz and Sphinx are in every single lobby I see in there. It's like, oh, Dog's playing. Oh, there's Sphinx and there's Rayditz. Okay, cool. Sphinx, of course, being a HeroesHearth Fight Night player from the last Fight Night, so and a good friend of mine as well. So definitely good to see him and Rayditz as well.
Yeah, always great to cast these high level players, and man, we even get to talk to them at the end. We get to interview the winner, pick their brain. That is a sheer advantage for our ladder games going forward. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, it's I'm just saying, hey, instead of an interview, can you just coach me for about 5 minutes? I don't care about your experiences. Just tell me what to pick.
Just play my account for a couple days. Just smurf.
But again, we're seeing Rayditz first place, 100 health, 6 win streak, early Kennen. Coincidence? I think not. Also, we keep seeing this Katarina too, which we've seen it in a lot of the end comps for these top players, but I have not seen it do damage more than like 1 round.
No, that's what I want to see here most from Rayditz is there any value to be gained from Katarina? Because I've really enjoyed using that unit last patch and this patch.
Yeah,
into the Imperial buff. It to me is what made the Imperial synergy much more viable, was the fact that you were able to play Katarina and it was able to really take over some of the early round games. Not something we've seen today. We've seen success from the Imperial composition, but just wasn't because of Katarina, at least from what we've been able to see on our screens. So.
Absolutely, and looks like an investment in the AA Trox here with the Hand of Justice and the GA. We've got some demons here as well, and the 3 sorcerer buff, which is always going to be helpful for that Aatrox. Man, that was a big ult by Aatrox, but did get trap clawed from it, unfortunately. But another one here is going to be huge. The dunk, absolutely giant from Faye. Whew. This Aatrox is very scary. It's like a mini ace. It's like a mini like AoE dunk Acel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very strong, especially when itemized correctly. Takes advantage of that demon synergy, one that I really struggle to use effectively, but I continue to see these players getting a ton of value from it, especially in the early and the mid game. I do think they're transitioning away from it by the end game. But it's another one of those ones, though. It only takes 2, and there's a lot of value to be gained from just pulling mana away, less abilities for your opponent, more of them for you. Yeah, it's an all-around very, very useful, and I call it like a glue synergy, right? Like it like bridges gaps between other synergies and just kind of adds a little value at very little cost. You don't have to go far out of your way to get a demon buff.
The demon buff is also one of the ones that I've started to have some more success with it now that I'm actually focusing on it. We talked about Elise as a sort of an underrated early game unit, and it's in large part, I think, because of that demon synergy, where if you're in the early game able to stop that early Kennen from ulting a second time or even a first time, like that can be absolutely round changing, especially in the early game. So really liking the demon buff here, and Rayditz seems to agree with that, being that brand loyalist early on. A huge brand ult there, just doing a lot of damage with the Katarina. We saw it. The Katarina did damage. Unfortunately, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it just didn't matter. But both of them had Katarinas, so somebody had to win with Katarina.
Yes, the Katarina did win that round. It was going to no matter what, but...
And that was, curiously enough, the top 2 players in our lobby doing battle against each other. Rayditz coming out on top. Still hasn't lost yet, by the way. We're almost to stage 4, and Rayditz is untouched at 100 HP. And what is that? It's at least a 9 win streak, because Master here with his 9 losing streak tells me there's been at least that many rounds.
Yes, and Master, oh man, 39 health going into Wolves. Wolves is one of the benchmarks that I keep a mental note of, and it changes from meta to meta, but generally speaking, if I'm above 50 health at Wolves, I'm like, okay, I'm in an all right spot here. If I'm like, the closer I am to 50, the closer I am to thinking I need to really start to invest more and get stronger. If I'm at 38 health going into Wolves, and if he loses here, he's going to be even lower. That's where I'm starting to almost hit the panic button. And by panic button, I mean reroll button a bunch of times.
Yeah, something Master's going to have to do here. Drops again, falls to 28 HP. It's a very precarious position. Early enough that it's not, I don't think, realistically a 1-loss situation. He can lose twice from here. Yeah, but nonetheless, a lot of upgrades to hit. This Kazakh's not doing too much in the composition that I can see. It is providing Void. I'm just not sure how essential that is at this stage in the game. We're going to have to see him roll down to try to get a level 2 Gnar, I think, is one of the big upgrades that he can still hit. Sitting at 3 wild, you have to think he's really looking for that 4th one there. Clearly a wild brawler, shapeshifter composition is the goal here. We'll see if it's able to come together. Not a lot of time to make it happen, but yeah, I'm expecting him to roll down as soon as this happens.
I was going to say the problem with getting rid of the Kazakhs is he doesn't have a lot of damage in his comp right now, but he could certainly get there. This almost seems like he could go... Ooh, the Swain for shapeshifters is interesting.
Gets that tier 1 Elise off the board, which is big. That's a pretty big power spike.
Yeah, Wild Brawler, Shapeshifter, Demon, Void. The problem is that it's all bronze. It's all, first level of those. Just puts the Pantheon in there for good measure. Getting the second Giant Slayer on the Crittily and a Locket. Yeah, Master is all in, as they say. Needs to hope that he's strong.
Can't have that Nidalee dying too early with all those items on it. It's going to be bad.
Ooh, luckily, though, her alt heals and the Sneeze Guard will keep the spells from killing, and it looks like Master will live to fight another day, and it actually takes a big chunk out of Jinx here.
Big win, knocking down other players a little bit. Rayditz did suffer a loss.
Yes, a small one, but still. Wonder who he lost to. It was either JawKneeYou or Professor.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, this is where we're starting to see the, people have all in. We saw, obviously, Master of Law all in. Jinx making the decision here. Doesn't necessarily need to all in yet. Keeping that 50 gold. Definitely very close here, though. He's right on the brink. I think another loss will potentially trigger a roll down scenario for Jinx here.
Yeah, it's I'm a little surprised he didn't go for level 8 already with the gold, but not really, I don't think a great unit to put in that really tremendously
Right.
changes things for him. So
No, and it's a bad interval for him right now. With it being 38 to level, if he waits one
oh
more,
yeah,
it's going to end up. If he does it this round, it would end up costing him a bunch of gold. He also gets the extra loss streak gold here. I mean, it does put him in a precarious situation because he is basically at a one loss. He's at one loss here to end it for him, but he definitely, is making the level to 8 and is now. I think we're going to see the rolls. It's just, what is he actually looking for? Gets a Jinxed in and a
Gotta
Blitzcrank.
pick
That's
up
a good start.
didn't pick up that Kale. I'm surprised with all the knights on the board for him.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the Kale would have been more powerful than the Darius here, but
Or the level 1 Poppy.
oh, there's
Darius.
a Nico's help, by the way. So we
Oh,
did see a
nice.
Nico's help. We
What
saw
do you got
one.
there?
It actually could be
See
really
if it gets
relevant.
used.
Well, yeah, if he okay, he does have best in slot items on the Kaisa again, but the problem, and I've been in this situation before where it's like, okay, I got pretty strong, but one loss is going to end Jinx's run here. But that
Jinx needs a
loss
good
is not.
performance though. This is the last round. I think it's right
Yeah.
to save it and try to go for it.
Oh,
Able
definitely.
to take a win off Faye, but it could. You're right though. It could just finish that Jinx right now.
Oh,
and just
he
keep
does.
going.
He does get the second Kaisa. Can use the Nico's help to get a level 2 Kaisa with
Oh,
perfect
got it right
items.
here.
He just got it. He got it on Carousel.
Excellent.
Yeah, really big hit for Jinx here. Also picked up a spatula, which is going to be interesting to see what he can build there. Rayditz still sitting up top with 83. I mean, this is one of the bigger spreads of lobbies we've had, with Rayditz up at 83 and Jinx down at the bottom with 14 health. So I don't know if we've seen the spread be this large yet.
Yeah, definitely a lot of damage suffered early on what looked like some intentional loss streaks. Can't know
That's
for
a level
sure.
2 Akali if he wants it.
Yeah, he's taking it
over the Zed for sure.
Yeah,
Question
definitely
is
more
he gonna
powerful.
Nico's help?
They wear very different items, but didn't have any items on to begin with to worry about. So it was a pretty easy decision there, I
Is he
think.
going to use that Nico's help is the real question. Yes, he is. This is the unfortunate thing is he's got the sort of the raw spatula, and he does have one more round to actually get items to combine with that spatula. He's got to make sure he survives to that round.
Yeah, we'll certainly be able to get some value out of it. And I've even been able to save them through stage 5 till you get to like the stage 6 carousel where you're getting level 1 items again, can do something with it. Sometimes it's a very late
metas
force
for
of
sure.
nature. Yeah.
In previous metas for sure, but in this one, you're hard struck to live that long, honestly.
Hard to imagine it happening, especially with the HP total that he's sitting at right now. Just very unforgiving of any mistakes or high rolls from the opponent as far as RNG within the battle itself.
Right.
We'll have to wait and see.
You think about it, the one Phantom on a Kaisa is pretty much a loss here and an end of tournament for Jinxed.
Yeah.
Which is certainly not something that you can play around, but is definitely a scary thing to think about, no less. Does pick up a second Jinx here for Jinxed. Second Jinx for Jinxed. Hopefully he gets the third one. I hope he doesn't jinx himself. Okay, I'm done. That'll never happen. Yes,
Jinx
cube. Jinx cube. Ooh, the power of the Trap Claw again gets hit with the Sejuani ult. Just doesn't matter.
Ooh, that's a big life loss there for JawKneeYou. Master of Wall clinging on at 9 HP.
Ooh. Clutching at pearls here. Can't quite see what item he's picking up behind his timer here. But this is there's no item here. That's not the dragon. That's just a big chicken. Man, I'm going blind, folks.
It was a little froggy there for us for a minute, but everything seems to be working fine again.
Yeah.
Taking a look at the scoreboard here again, Rayditz and Kladeous tied for first place, really battling it out. Jinxed and JawKneeYou in a decent spot to try to make it in here. If they can force the top performing players down a little bit, get a lot of points for themselves, they might be okay. JawKneeYou obviously at the bottom, looking. Where's Kladeous at? It's hard to see.
Is
tied for first. Okay, so Kladeous in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, Kladeous is tied for first in the standings. He's at he's in 5th place currently now at 19 health. So
we're looking at him. Geez, that's why.
We're does get the level 2 Kai'Sa as well, but no items. That's a trap I've fallen into. I mean, it can still obviously be very powerful. It is going to be doing true damage with that void buff. But there's no ranger, there's no assassin here for the Kai'Sa, and no real damage giving items for the Kai'Sa is going to be tough. He is going for the Frozen Heart.
Add some mana, gets the dashes going faster. It can make it
the first dash going faster.
It's going to be hard for that particular Kai'Sa to compete with the perfectly itemized weapons.
Right.
2 HP for Kladeous.
2. Man, the bottom, everyone is just clasping on here, trying to tread water as much as they can. Kladeous down at 2 health, Professor at 5, Master of Law at 9, JawKneeYou at 12, Jinxed in 4th place on a win streak at 14 health. But so many players at under 15 health. Faye actually making a run here, 66 health in 1st place here. So, man, these players are fighting tooth and nail here. Interesting positioning by Professor here, though.
Yeah, honestly, that to me might be the most fascinating thing about watching the higher level players is when they're streaming, especially, and they can just give you kind of the lowdown why they're doing it in the moment. It's crazy to see.
Big MF ult
from
but
MF, yeah.
MF's ult is just not that big in general. Even when it hits so many people. So much magic.
The auto attack is significantly better. Can it take? That's the last unit. It's not.
I was gonna say no. It's the answer to whatever.
I just wanted to know if it would take out the Swain, but
3 people died there. Jinx died. Jinx died in 8th place.
Jinx to JawKneeYou and Professor. Kladeous's last 2 HP is absolutely huge. Oh man, who else? So Rayditz holding on tight in 1st place. Rayditz, of course, tied with Kladeous in the top of the overall leaderboard. Front runners to be able to take home the grand prize 1st place finish.
That was an insane round.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The round of death, 5-2. Watch out for it.
Yeah, make sure, guys, if you can survive 5-2, that's it's good for you.
Wayne did nothing, Blevins. It did nothing. PXN is in trouble here. Oh, man, a big chunk. Kladeous might be at 2 HP, but it clearly hit a power spike and is in a strong position here.
Yep.
Just one slip up, one phantom buff, or one phantom synergy.
He got phantom there and survived, which was crazy
and that's what took out that Swain. Put it at 1 HP, popped the GA, and as soon as it stood up in a Cho'Gath ultimate, and it just dropped almost immediately. So Phantom changes games. That's why I feel games so much.
And like you said, that mana to get that first shield is huge because he's got 2 mana items. He's got the Frozen Heart and the Hush on the Kai'Sa, which are not the ideal items, but getting that first shield from Kai'Sa up is going to be huge in a case where it even kind of plays around the Phantom a little bit, at least.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is a huge bubble round here with Kladeous obviously needing points here. Even a single point is going to be extremely powerful for him. Rayditz abusing the UI of Mittens to make all of his Yordles even smaller looking.
Oh, Mittens.
He's 1 step closer to having 10 Yordles, but is sadly 7 off.
10 Yordles, but the smallest area taken up by units
Yes.
on a board in history.
Absolutely here, and it's looking like it's really close actually. These Dragon Guardian comps are just so strong, and it looks like Master of Wall is getting eliminated here in 5th place, which means Kladeous does lock up a point here in 4th, and that is absolutely huge for him.
Massive for the possibility of the top 3. A long way to go if he wants to win 1st place, but we've seen low HP comebacks before. Maybe not this far out, but this is, to me, the excitement of TFT and watching these tournaments is the run back from 2 HP from the bottom of the just staying there for 2 stages. That hands down the most fun thing to watch and spectate.
Absolutely, especially since this is essentially a heads up. Kladeous versus Rayditz here. Whoever finishes higher is going to get 1st place in this fight night. So oh man, this is you can't ask for more excitement.
Phantom hit the Asol, and the Asol never got the ultimate off as it got hit by the Cho'Gath ultimate.
Oh, and Faye,
huge Faye,
actually gets eliminated. Wow, in 4th place.
Kladeous is angry about those early losses and looking to extract vengeance. Really does a lot of damage to Faye's ability to get into the top 3 here, or even the top 4. Just to secure some prizes. I don't think that's likely to happen, but Kladeous all of a sudden, I mean, what's going to beat this? It's been a while since the man has dropped around, and man, has he gone against Rayditz though in a little bit? I don't think so.
As much as I want fair and balanced gameplay, I want DXN to get eliminated this round and just have the actual heads up 1v1 duel in the last round. Who gets first?
Well, you might get that very soon anyways, but he's not
maybe, but look at this Draven though. Rageblade, he's going to have a Runin's Hurricane. He's got the Deathblade, which is not the greatest item, but he probably picked it up on a dragon or something,
or making do with the last couple items on the bench. Definitely not something DXN planned to build and put on Draven, but it's a snowball item for sure. You get it rolling, you get a couple stacks on it, and it gets mean. So we'll have to keep an eye on what kind of value that item is able to get for the Draven.
Kladeous has
looking to finish the Karthus.
Most interesting Kaisa build I've ever seen.
Where's he going with this item?
Giving it to Asol, probably just for the health and the bonus, I guess. The Kaisa still alive somehow. If he can jump again, does not get the jump. That is probably going to be it for Kladeous.
Running to the corner.
And I think that all but locks it up for Rayditz to be our champion. But we will play the rest of it out and check the scores in just a bit after this match. But Rayditz is definitely in a commanding position.
Yeah, should be taking home 1st place here today, so congratulations to him, but obviously not over. He wants to lock up 1st place in this lobby and really put the icing on the cake.
If I'm DXN, I want nothing more than to be the Dream Crusher here. Like that's what I want.
Well, it actually, it's funny. I mean, not that in an auto battler, the desire really means a whole lot, but it actually means something to him to get 1st place here. And with Rayditz, he's already won. So.
I mean, Rayditz has to be your champion because he not only has the brand, but brand with a mittens. That is your unit. That's called the DeathBlow.
Yeah, I've been rooting for Rayditz for a couple rounds now. I'm throwing away my duty as a caster to remain impartial in service of supporting brand compositions everywhere.
I mean, we don't have to remain impartial. Wait, I'm getting word that is the only thing we have to do. Okay, nothing that you actually say, Jules, can keep me from hearing things in my headset. Let's just remember that. But we are moving here. I mean, we did see DXN actually get the W last round. Rayditz maybe playing with his food a bit. Who knows? I mean, that Draven, that's not a baby Draven. Does not matter though. Getting taken out. And can this Swain win against the world? No! Rayditz taking it down in the very last round to secure the W for himself in first place in this fight night. That much I can do the math for, but what we're going to be waiting a few minutes for is to get the rest of the points locked in and scored, and really put in here for the top 3 and top 4 for prizes, as well as for the top 3 invitees to be brought back to the next fight night.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Blevins, but the big takeaway that I'm going to be bringing into my ranked games is just play brand forehead. That's the only thing I really saw that was worth learning from today, was just brand wins games.
Yes, brand does win games, and we saw Kladeous take down 2 of them, coming home in first place with 11 points. Second place is, in fact, going to Kladeous with 9 points. Third place, and our third player invited back to the next fight night, is going to be DXN with 5 points. And we have a tie here for fourth place between Jinxed and JawKneeYou. We will get some confirmation as to who the fourth place finisher is based on the tiebreakers in just a minute, but we are actually going to bring in Rayditz here for the winners interview. So once he gets in here, we're going to be able to pick his brain. Hey, Rayditz, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Oh man, I gotta say, just great games, absolutely fantastic play. But DeathBlow, I know you are a particular fan of some plays that Rayditz made.
I absolutely, Rayditz. I gotta say, since around the third round or so, it became very apparent that you were prioritizing brand in your builds, and that is a sure way to win my heart and to get me to root for you. So I was rooting for you. Tell me, is Elementalist something that you were really targeting going into this event?
Yeah, so there's like the phase between Wolves and Raptors. A lot of players just take a lot of damage, and Elementalist you get such a big power spike and you do so much damage to people that a lot of times you knock them out before they get like their 2-star legendaries. It's really strong. But then usually after Raptors you kind of take it out, but I just kept Brian because he did so much damage.
Yeah, you did seem like the to steal DeathBlow's joke, the brand loyalist.
The brand ambassador of
really
the lobby,
remaining on brand there. Okay, we said about 800 brand puns during the cast, so we don't need to keep doing them. But absolutely fantastic play. I mean, in this 9.2 meta, we've obviously seen the super late game be kind of dominant here. And I really wanted to get your thoughts on, what is your sort of go-to comp? I mean, I know me personally, I love going the Jinx Brawlers comp because I have a very smooth brain and that's very easy for me to build. I know what I want to build, but we saw a couple of games where you had kind of some interesting items that wouldn't really fit a sort of a Draven comp or a Jinx Brawler comp. What are you trying to really build going into the late game?
So I used to love playing Jinx too, but I recently had like really bad Jinx games. So I basically just try to play Sork every game.
Interesting.
And then one of the things I love doing is playing Katarina in every comp because she just sometimes 1v9s.
Yeah.
So like if you get an early Darius too, right? You're just gonna use your knights. You throw in a Katarina, you'll just win streak for like 10 rounds. And that's what happened like 3 of the games.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, so I'll put in Sork, and then maybe I'll get a Swain and just go 4 Imperial. But I'm not doing the Imperial for Draven. I'm just doing it for Katarina.
Yeah, Katarina didn't seem like to us, at least from the rounds we got to watch or the fights we got to watch, there was like a large stretch of Katarina's getting almost nothing done. So what can you do to really unlock that unit? Because when it does ultimate in good position, there's no doubting the raw power of the champion. But what can players do out there to get more value out of their Katarina? What items should they be thinking about putting on her, or should they be putting items on her at all?
Definitely just like mana items. So you just want to roll faster. And something that's really good that my friend H2 told me actually yesterday is putting Katarina in your front line so she doesn't jump back. And instead she instantly ults all the knights and kills them all.
Yeah, we did see that. I remarked about that. I'm like, is this a 500 IQ play of having the frontline Katarina? And it actually was.
Yeah.
So great.
It jumped anyways, so it didn't work out in the opportunity we got to see it in action. But yeah, it was definitely something we noted. So interesting to see that tactic in action as well. Blevins asked you what compositions you were really aiming for or trying to run. Were there any you were avoiding in this lobby today? And
oh
why
yeah,
were you avoiding them?
I was avoiding Jinx for sure because I feel like for Jinx and Draven, you really need to hit a defensive item late game, or you just get one shot out of the ASOLs. Everyone's running ASOL. So if you don't hit Dragon Claw or Trap Claw, it's just like free bottom 4. So.
True. That is something that I've personally experienced way too often, honestly. But again, Rayditz, shout outs to you. GG's. Last words here. Anyone that you want to throw shout outs or anything that you want to plug here in your victory speech?
Yeah, shout out to H2211, his Twitch. He's been teaching me a lot of stuff like that Katarina frontline. Really cool dude.
I'm definitely going. That's H2211. I'm writing that down here because I am definitely going to be checking them out. And I know I don't even need to look for you on the internet, man, because every single challenger lobby I see on Twitch, you are in that lobby every single time. And there's always someone remarking about, oh, yep, Rayditz is it's top 2, Rayditz top 10 again. That guy's insane. So really great to see you come back actually after the first place tie last week or last fight night and actually come back and get the W here. So again, congratulations, Rayditz. We are happy to have you back next week, and good luck in your games in the time to come. But
thank you.
Yes. DeathBlow, that is going to bring us to the end here for fight night. What were your thoughts, man? This is your first one.
Honestly, it was great. It's so much fun to really get to sit down and analyze what these high level players are able to do with these compositions, and it's just a blast to try to figure it out ourselves, right? Like we don't get to pick their brain in the moment, like when they're streaming, and so it's really beneficial to me to try to piece it together and figure it out. I know what I need to do to become a better caster, and that's really learn to watch the action unfolding in the middle of the screen and really understand what's going on. I could feel myself get better at that as the rounds went on, but definitely a super big challenge just following all that. And I do want to just take a moment to thank Jules and HeroesHearth as a whole for inviting me to do this. Really a ton of fun. I hope I get to see you guys again and cast another tournament, but big thanks to the org and all the players too. Everybody's needed to make these things happen, and this is just such a great group of people we had for this event both weeks that we tried to do it. So I'm glad we got to fire it off this time.
Yes, really glad. Thank you, Riot, for keeping your servers up this time. We are glad to keep doing these tournaments as long as the game works. But that is going to wrap it up. Shout outs to all the players. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Huge shout outs. I will double your shout outs here, Death, to Jules and the HeroesHearth crew for inviting us on here and giving us the platform to actually run these tournaments. And shout outs to you, the community, who have put in your viewership, who love the game, and who, especially those of you who donated bits towards the bounty here. It really does help and helps us, put on more of these events here, especially in this early time when we don't even have an actual spectator mode. That's just the HeroesHearth crew working. It's super overtime, crazy stuff, and able to put on just such an amazing product for you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who allows that to be possible. But last, before we go here, I just wanted to say, if you like me and you like DeathBlow, we actually do a podcast together. It's not TFT. It is a high noon podcast for Overwatch. So if you like Overwatch League at all, you can, and you like us, if you just like us and you like these fantastic beards, you can check us out there. But that's going to be it for the HeroesHearth TFT Fight Night for 9.20. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one.